for House passage. As soon as we get back to regular legislative session, we look forward to doing that, and the clock is ticking. Remember this as well. The CR was set to November 21st. Was that a random date? No, that date was chosen by Republicans and Democrat appropriators, decided upon to allow for 7 additional weeks so they could finish the job that you just asked about. Right now, the great irony is the Democrats who say they want everything to be done, they are the ones that are eating up the clock. They're preventing that very thing from happening. So many of you have asked me in the hallway, is November 21st going to allow enough time? That's becoming a very dicey prospect right now because we need every single day. Now, the appropriators are working right now. As we speak, they're working. I myself have spoken to appropriators in the Senate on the Democrat side. I mean, we're trying to prepare this work and to get it done as soon as possible. But it is true that the pressure gets turned up every day of the calendar that's eaten up by the Democrats' political nonsense. Back row, yes, sir, in the back.
I wanted to go live because I really want to see Trump again, and he's actually attending a Rose Garden Club lunch, so hopefully we get to see him eat. But once Trump gets on here, I will not be talking until he's done, unless it's important. I want to say something. So let's see.
No, terrible. That's the first I've heard of that. I don't know anything about it. But anybody who threatens to kill any political official, we denounce it absolutely. Got to have justice fall upon their head. All right? How about that?
Share this.
Yes, sir. Senator.
Wait 1 minute, guys. I need.
Would you like to see the Senate have more accelerated timeline, and if they pass the
Well, I don't anticipate it will be passed during the shutdown, but there is a big appetite among Republicans, House and Senate, I can tell you, for tough sanctions on Russia. The president, as you know, you can take him at his own word, he's lost his patience with Putin. He's not a good faith operator. Obviously, he's the aggressor in an unjust war, and it needs to end. The president's using every leverage point he has to bring that a resolution, bring an end to that war that's killed so many people and cost so much money, and it's just been a terrible thing. Everybody on the world stage, I talked to my colleagues, my counterparts, the speakers of the various parliaments of the other free countries, the G7 and others, and everybody's unified on this. Everybody wants this to end. President Trump's the only strong enough figure on the world stage who has a chance of doing that. And you know, he's bent over backwards to make it happen. Now, what we need right now is we need good faith on the part of Russia and Ukraine, that they would come to the table to work on a diplomatic solution to bring this to an end. The president's trying to force that in every way he can. The Republicans in Congress are ready to provide support for that and any leverage that we can, including sanctions, we're open to, and we'll see how that develops. For sure.
Mr. Speaker, getting back to the future, this is one of a number of individuals in the pardon as a result of January 6th who have been rearrested in their institutions. Did President Trump make a mistake by just offering a blanket pardon for every single person in this campaign?
I don't know any of the details of this at all. I don't know who's been alleged to have been involved in this. I will say that anybody who threatens political violence against elected officials or anyone else should be have the full weight and measure of the Department of Justice on their head. I trust that will happen. I hope it will. We are intellectually consistent about that, obviously. I will tell you this. The violence on the left is far more prevalent than the violence on the right. Don't make me go through the list. You all know it. All of these the assassination culture that's been advanced now, this is the left in almost every case that is advancing this and not the right. So let's not make it a partisan issue. You don't want me to go there. We're just going to say anybody, any deranged individual, this has to stop. And the rhetoric that you saw on display on Saturday, we highlighted yesterday, it plays into this, okay? There are people that get triggered. There are deranged people in society when they hear elected officials participating in a rally that was paid for by Soros and sponsored by communists, with signs and placards and mantras that were repeated that we should bring death to, fascist politicians. What they mean is they call every Republican a fascist now. They're calling for the death of elected officials. Please, enough of that. We got to stop it. Stop the rhetoric, stop all the nonsense, and stop the violence.
Thank you.
Look, I'm not going to address it because I'm not sure of the details of this, and I think we've said enough. You know where we stand, and every one of you should stand there the same way. We denounce violence from anybody, anytime. Those people should be arrested and tried. Thanks.
Exactly. Violence is never the answer. It just makes things a lot worse on your end, too.
Thank you to House Speaker Mike Johnson and
I
House
hope and
Republican
pray that my
leadership for
sound
that
is
update as
good.
we await President Trump to host a Rose Garden luncheon at noon Eastern.
On my end,
And
it
something the
looks.
Democrats really should
the
look
quality looks
into if they
good.
do care about the Epstein situation is that the former President Bill Clinton has been on the Lolita Express, that was the private plane of Jeffrey Epstein, at least on 28 occasions, and some reports 33. Worth looking into if you care about America's children and the children of the world. Thank you to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. It's that time of year, cold, flu, and COVID season. Scan the QR code there for 10% off. Yes, RSBN 10. Get Tamiflu, ivermectin, antibiotics, antivirals, in fact, 200 essential medications. NAD plus methylene blue as well. Allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN has your back, because the problem this time of year is that when someone gets sick in the household, and then the entire household could get sick, you have pharmacies, urgent cares, doctors that are all backed up with many other sick folks. So you might as well stock up on that medicine cabinet for the right to try and for generics that
Thank you
really
for the
don't make the
like.
big business or big pharmaceuticals a lot of money, but can
I pray
save
that your
you
guys this
not only time and
morning
energy,
is
but
going
in
well.
many cases, your life. Allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. It's doctors and pharmacists, nurses who are patriots and care deeply about making
This
America
broadcast started
healthy
like
again and getting you these
50 minutes ago.
medications on a timely basis for an affordable cost. RSBN 10 is the code. Scan the QR code there for 10% off. Monetary gold, wealth preservation securities. Call today. Do not delay. Ask how you can eliminate your IRA fee permanently for life. It's 888-617-7994, 888-617-7994 at rsbnforthegold.com. Robert Kiyosaki warning the country, 2 banks failing this year alone, 500 approximately during the Obama tenure. So what are you to do in a bull market of silver? We should grab some gold and silver, diversify for that generational wealth, or if you simply want to buy that first or second property. This all can help with that diversification, but most of all, protecting your retirement, your pension, the earnings you worked hard for, because inflation and paper money can go poof right in the air. And with the BRICS nations working overtime to devalue the dollar, and with a very weak dollar in the market right now, there's no better time than to turn to the leader in the gold and silver hot commodity business. It's Monetary Gold. Thank you for your sponsorship here on the right side of history. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Who will win the New York City mayoral election in 2 weeks? Will it be the Communist Democrat nominee, Zoran Mondani? Will it be Democrat turned independent former Governor Andrew Cuomo of the Empire State? Will Curtis Sliwa, the back-to-back Republican nominee, make a last-ditch effort? He's been endorsed by America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, and he's been hitting the pavement on a daily basis, really working hard in this election to make New York great again. We'll watch that closely. November 4th is the election, 2 weeks from tonight. Will Bitcoin hit 150K by March of 2026, further allowing you in that March Madness season of college basketball to diversify more income and your assets? Kalshi.com/RSBN. Scan that QR code now. The Los Angeles Dodgers headed to the World Series. Will they repeat their World Series championship from last year? It's not easy to do in baseball. We saw the Florida Panthers do it in hockey as well, and they were invited to the White House once again. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Scan that QR code there and have some fun trading on music, sports, politics, culture, the American experiment as we know it today. At roughly 10:43 Eastern, President Trump in an hour or so to host a Rose Garden lunch at the Rose Garden Club, and I wonder what's on the menu today. At high noon on a gorgeous day in the federal city. Heck, it's a gorgeous day here in the loveliest village on the plains at our headquarters, Right Side Broadcasting Network, the live desk that is your go-to.
I would like to
We'll
know
take a
what
quick
he's eating,
commercial
too.
break for sponsorships. Stick with us here on the Right Side of History. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Tired of being told no by your doctor, your pharmacy, or worse, your insurance company? You're not alone. Millions of Americans are waking up to a broken healthcare system. That's why more and more people are
Hi,
turning
guys.
to All Family Pharmacy. We believe in medical freedom. We deliver the prescription and the medication, all from licensed U.S. doctors and pharmacists, from ivermectin and trusted antibiotics to maintenance medications, even NAD+, the revolutionary anti-aging supplement. Use code RSBN10 at checkout for 10% off your first order.
Every once in a while, something big happens, something that changes everything. And now, in a defining moment for crypto, Trump Media Group and Crypto.com are joining forces to acquire up to $6.4 billion of CRO, launching America's first ever CRO treasury, empowering the Kronos blockchain. This is more than a partnership. It's the future of finance built in America. For more, visit Crypto.com, where millions trade CRO every day.
Hey y'all, it's Sil from the Diamond Silk Chit Chat Live Show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network as we cover the news of the day and the irony of the Democrat Party. We saw that if you watch from the beginning of our broadcast, roughly 45 minutes in, with updates on day 21 of the Chuck Schumer Democrat shutdown coming directly from the United States Senate. It's something to echo the Secretary of the Treasury Bessent's words just days ago that Democrats of goodwill, if any do exist, elected Democrats in the Senate, really need to go beyond the filibuster, something I thought they no longer endorse, but they clearly love this filibuster as much as they did back when they tried to stop civil rights legislation in the 1960s. But the hypocrisy on illegal alien healthcare being funded by them on full display with cut number 14, Mr. Producer.
There's my president.
We love them. A lot. A lot. Great things. Thank you very much. We got to get a lot done.
And President Trump welcoming the Australian Prime Minister yesterday, Mr. Albanese. They have a very good relationship, clearly. A gentleman from the Labour Party of Australia. And a big deal being signed yesterday. Billions of dollars worth of minerals and enterprises being exchanged with the United States and Australia. In return, the United States to help with submarine and maritime equipment, to help with the Indo-Pacific. All of this is 4D chess, really against the Chinese Communist Party, who have been put up against the ropes thanks to this administration. President Trump will be going over the course of the next 2 weeks to South Korea. We look forward to that trip.
Oh, I want to go live
could there
for
be
that.
neutral territory for a potential meeting with Xi Jinping? We will watch all of that as the world does anticipate that upcoming meeting, in addition to, at a time to be set, President Trump to meet with the leader of Russia once again in Budapest, Hungary, Mr. Vladimir Putin, discussing the end of that Russia-Ukraine war. And we know that 8 wars have been solved in 8 months with this president at the helm of leadership in the executive branch of government. He's someone who has not started wars, but found a way to end them, and in most cases, inheriting these conflicts, some dating back all the way to World War II. And if you look over the course of 31 years, from Rwanda to the Congo battling one another in tribal warfare, the bloodiest battle that you really saw since that conflict of World War II in the 30s and 40s. So some things that don't get reported by the legacy media, and Christian genocide that was running rampant, especially in Armenia. Something that you'd only hear in cities like Los Angeles with large Armenian populations. President Trump helped solve that between Azerbaijan and Armenia, as well as Thailand and Cambodia, to Israel and Iran, and now last week with Israel and the Gaza peace deal, something where countless leaders came together to make sure that that was right for the world. So we'll stay on top of all of this, because Russia and Ukraine really will ultimately be that crown jewel, because it has been an item that's been so discussed in the media, but whether right, left, or center, it's very clear, as the Russian president put it in Anchorage, Alaska, that he would have never invaded had President Trump still remained in office in 2022. But the autopen created this vacuum. I mentioned this many times on past shows, that a lot of this ties back to oil and energy. He cut the Keystone Pipeline here in North America that went from Alaska through Western Canada into the United States. Even Justin Trudeau was begging President Biden to reinstate that deal, creating countless jobs in Canada and the United States. But Nord Stream 2 was given the green light with American help as well during the Autopen administration, therefore putting Germany, Belgium, and other European nations at the mercy of Russian oligarchy, and Iran and China ended up benefiting from that in their oil and gas trades. So all this is extraordinarily complicated, but President Trump has taught a masterclass in roughly 8 months of how to do this job. Well, really 9 months since he took the oath of office back on January 20th of this year. Now going back to as well the illegal alien healthcare. Democrats really have shown that hypocrisy on a regular basis with the way they've claimed that there's no illegal aliens being funded with that healthcare. But we know from independent research and other journalists that that is the case. And before we go to that video, thank you to angelpaste.com, the miracle that is the vitamin B cream. That's great this time of year. I mean, really outstanding to get rid of that dry skin and to keep your skin glowing this time of year. I've used it right here on the show, and I hope you do so as well. The orange option, that's vitamin C infused, non-GMO, no chemicals. Great for that skin.
Hi guys. Thank you for joining.
Facial spray. They've got
Hopefully,
options right there.
right? We get to see
So go and
Trumpy.
check that out when you can. This time of year, it gets dry outside, so right before winter, nice to keep that skin glowing with the temperature change. Christian owned. They are based in Spring, Texas, off the Gulf of America. Experience the miracle today. That is angelpaste.com. Thank you to covepure.com/RSBN. Get $200 off this reverse osmosis machine that's leading the way in clear wave technology. Let me tell you about this, because we know that pipes, especially in Democrat-run cities, the infrastructure could be quite poor. So remember Flint, Michigan, the poisons in the water? Yeah, that lead can lead to brain cancer, to stomach tumors,
Thank you
liver
for the
failure,
hearts.
and just god-awful things.
Thank
As you can see
you.
there, the reverse osmosis system,
God bless you.
covepure.com/RSBN, it's clear wave technology.
Oh,
The
thank you
machine
for
is
the likes
smaller, if not
too.
the size of
You guys
your
are
coffee
amazing.
maker at home.
Thank you.
So easy to use in the morning, especially to cleanse the system. But Secretary Kennedy, amongst others,
What do you think
very
Trump's
focused
gonna
on
eat
removing
for
fluoride,
lunch?
pesticides, and chemicals from
I'm thinking a
the water,
sandwich,
including
but
agricultural
I don't
runoff.
think so.
Here's the problem.
I think it's gonna be
pediatrics
something
found
different.
that students drinking from the tap water on a regular basis can lose up to 2 points, if not more, of their IQ. So this is really not a luxury, but a necessity to keep your
When
family
Trump does go to Korea
safe.
and all that, I wanna
Utah, Florida
go
also
live for
passing
that
legislation to get fluoride out
to
of the
see
water.
what is all
So get
talked
ahead of all of
about,
this. GoPure.com/RSBN, the best reverse osmosis
what they
system in
discuss.
the game. Drink Pure, Live Pure. Get $200 off. Scan that QR code there now, as we're grateful for a healthy America. Now, talk about efficiency. Perplexity, the newest sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, with its AI-powered browser that does browse at the speed of thought. Unlock 1 month premium Rumble right there for you, all on the house. pplx.ai/RSBN.
Rumble.
So you might work on the East Coast as we do. What about that business partner on the West Coast? 3-hour difference in the time, and you're meeting right in the middle, Midwest, to go find some delicious barbecue. Now, I have to say that's probably going to be the Lone Star State of Texas. Maybe something like Hard 8 in Canton, just outside of Dallas, one of the finest there. I could actually tell you about a whole story about an eating contest I had during my Turning Point USA days, but I'll save that for another time. I lost badly to Mr. Brandon Tatum, but we had fun with that. And you want to find the best barbecue out there. So why waste 30 minutes, 3 hours or more trying to schedule all that when you have other important items to meet before your big AI conference? Let Comet take care of that for you. It's an AI-powered browser from Perplexity. Browse at the speed of thought with Comet, pplx.ai/RSBN. It's literally having a personal assistant in your web browser. They search, they book, they send the message over to your business partner, and you'll have all that peace of mind, get more done during the day. So it sounds like a game plan for yours truly. I hope it is for you as well. It's a comment from Perplexity, pplx.ai/RSBN. As we share the news of the day, Vice President J.D. Vance, he is in Israel today meeting with a number of different officials post the Israeli peace accords, really the Abraham Accords 2.0, where you've had Arab and Muslim countries come together. It's being signed in Egypt with the President of the United States in that long line of those who wanted to have a personal picture with him. So it's interesting that those would say that the world is somehow unsafe or that the world does not respect President Trump, because he finds a way with each and every leader, regardless of background, to find common ground with them. That's through dialogue, it's through debate, it's through the use of tariffs, it's through the use of not backing down peacefully and patriotically. It's being on the forefront to make sure drug traffickers in Venezuela stop the murder of American citizens. Dr. Sebastian Gorka mentioned this recently at a Heritage Foundation event, that post-World War II, 108,000 American service members, men and women, may God rest their souls for their selfless sacrifice, perished in battle, in war, whether it be from the draft, whether it be from a volunteer military, from the Korean War, all through the most recent engagements in the operation against the war on terror. As we watch all of that, think about the sophomore year, the second year of the Otto Penn administration. 120,000 Americans died from fentanyl poisoning. Think about the staggering comparison. And you could claim it's apples to oranges, but there's no question that illicit poisoning is happening to America's best and brightest, all thanks to open borders. Well, that's stopped under this administration over the course of the last 8 to 9 months. You can see the passion in someone like a Tom Homan, who wants to secure the border, who's seen children who have been trafficked and raped. It's a terrible thing. This administration's focused on that safety and security to make America great again, and it is appropriate to put pressure on the Maduro regime as a result of the illicit drug trafficking and poisoning that's happened in this country. Now we see a live shot there from Pebble Beach, is what they call it, the green tarp that is over our media colleagues as they wait to go in and out of the West Wing. We might see Caroline Levitt or another staff member from the cabinet in the administration who might address media. That's why that is all set up right there outside the entrance of the West Wing on a gorgeous autumn day in the federal city. In addition to that, we have the video ready for you showing Democrats' hypocrisy on illegal alien healthcare and just who's funding it.
Federal law prohibits the expenditure of taxpayer dollars on providing health care to undocumented immigrants. Nowhere have Democrats suggested that we're interested in changing federal law.
Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
I did universal health care when I was mayor, fully implemented, regardless of pre-existing condition ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. San Francisco is the only universal health care plan for all undocumented residents in America. Very proud of that.
Current federal law is clear. Taxpayer dollars cannot be spent on Medicaid or Medicare or the Affordable Care Act related to undocumented immigrants. And not a single Democrat has raised the issue of trying to reverse that federal law.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
We do ourselves no favors by having 11 million undocumented people in our country be unable to access health care.
Federal law clearly prohibits the expenditure of taxpayer dollars to provide health care to undocumented immigrants, period, full stop. And no Democrat on Capitol Hill is trying to change that law.
We have, of course, J.D. Vance out saying that all we want to do is provide, I say we, a Democrat, provide, care for illegal aliens. That's his language. And of course,
that's just not true what he's saying.
The American people know that Republicans have shut the government down because of their unwillingness to provide health care to everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans.
The mental gymnastics you have to go through with this House Democrat leadership and the Senate Democrat leadership, really mind-boggling to watch. But they always, one thing I do respect about them, they stick together. They really do. And they find a way to perpetuate all this. So I did some digging. We are a small but mighty company here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So what you hear on the show is coming from yours truly. And I will always share across with you what is the journalistic integrity of what is news versus what is simply opinion. And Bill O'Reilly's team has quite a research team, a robust team that looks into many different core issues. And what they found recently is the fact that whether it's public or private subsidies, even though illegal through Obamacare, and even though it was illegal to fund criminal aliens with these Medicaid, Medicare, public and private subsidies, being that they're non-citizens, finding that states like Oregon, California, Illinois, the Empire State of New York, amongst others, are doing just that through sanctuary status. Very interesting to see what they uncovered as President Trump will host a Rose Garden lunch at high noon Eastern. It's 11:02 on the East Coast, 8:02 on the West Coast. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Robert McNeely. It's always a joy to be with you, especially on a Tuesday with glorious temperatures in the federal city and that beautiful sunshine upon
Beautiful day to have
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, where they are breaking ground on the ballroom, the privately funded ballroom, in fact, at the White House. And the presidents have done this in the past. In fact, cut number 9, Mr. Producer, we've had a history of that at the White House, where presidents have added to different elements of the White House. So a lot of fake outrage, according to Rapid Response 47, regarding the construction of the big, beautiful, privately funded White House. In fact, presidents have renovated and expanded the White House for the last 100 years. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt made the West Wing. So what you see of the West and East Wing now is really 100 or so years in the making. It's early 20th century. In 1909, President William Howard Taft added the first Oval Office during the West Wing expansion. In 1933, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt added a second floor to the West Wing, and in 1934, he relocated the Oval Office to its current spot, completed the East Wing, and built the indoor swimming pool. In 1948, President Truman began completely gutting and rebuilding the White House interior, preserving the exterior walls. That was needed because of mold and electricity, also indoor plumbing issues that came as a result of a building that's really been in existence since 1800 or 1801, when John Adams, the first inhabitant, ended up there, the first president to live there. The only president who did not live there, the father of our country, General George Washington. Now, in 1970, President Nixon converted FDR's pool into the press briefing room. In 1973, he added a bowling alley to the basement, and in President Obama in 2009 upgraded the tennis court into a full basketball court. Now, all this is being privately funded, mind you. President Trump having the donors to the White House just last week on Wednesday evening to showcase all of this. As you can see the outline there, and the White House talking about this very construction that is really going to be quite interesting for the privately funded ballroom. For over 100 years, presidents have done this, enhancing the White House, preserving its legacy as a symbol of our nation. And today, President Trump proudly broke ground on the new big White House ballroom. It's going to be extraordinary, and having the privilege of being in the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago on a couple of occasions, this is going to be a similar construction, from what I understand. And we know that he's a builder, he's a developer, he's passionate about it. His eyes light up when he talks about it. So we look forward to how this privately funded, again, it costs taxpayers nothing. This will host heads of state and countless Americans celebrate the glory that is our constitutional republic, nearly 250 years young. Now, this time of year, family members can come home from work, from school, and they might have the cough and the sniffles. It turns into something worse. How are you to protect yourself? Well, if you don't have insurance, there's no red tape and no bureaucracy with allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. In addition to great doctors and pharmacists who care about you, and a nursing staff ready to take care of your needs, you can prepare for the cold and flu season by stocking up with Tamiflu, ivermectin, antibiotics, antivirals, and much, much, much more. Again, 10% off, code RSBN10.
He's pretty much just saying the same stuff.
For all of the life-saving options.
How's everybody's day going? And thank you for joining. If you are new, please subscribe, comment, and like. Always appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Hopefully your guys' weather's better. It's actually raining today where I am. But I am excited to see Trump.
Right to try and generics that actually make a difference for you. allfamilypharmacy.com/RS.
So let's see.
The Medicare leader.
But like I also said, I want to record, go live when he goes to Korea.
Don't delay. You could do so.
To see what all is discussed.
438-3359. Because it's the same story every year that we find people who are 64 and older can get scammers and endless phone calls on plans that might threaten to cancel what you have now or simply might not be the best option. So Chapter compares every single Medicare plan just for you so that you can make sure you're safe in all of these options. It is true that Medicare is confusing on purpose. They don't want you to have really the best of both worlds. Who benefits? Big insurance companies. It's big government. It's those who write the rules. That's why Chapter is standing up against those who would seek to do the American people harm. So even if you like your current plan, you've got to look into 2026 options right away. Again, call 833-438-3359. Chapter comes in, they're independent. They are only advisors who want to compare nationwide all these different plans for you and yours. The call is easy. It takes under 20 minutes to review your options. And on average, they can save people up to $1,100 per year. So it's worth looking into. Chapter 833-438-3359. Thank you to mypillow.com/RSBN. It's a 6-piece towel set. They're back in stock under $70. Now going for $39.98. A very limited quantity. This will go fast. Call today. Do not delay. It is 800-836-7566. Support Mike Lindell and Right Side Broadcasting Network. Mike is a dear friend of the network, and my goodness, he has fought for free speech. He has fought for election integrity, and he's done so without regard to his own well-being. And now he's thinking about telling your own Matthew Alvarez he might run for governor of Minnesota. I hope Mike comes back on to announce that in the future, because that would be an exciting race. With all of this American-made products, over 2,000 in his manufacturing facilities in the great state of Minnesota. It's mypillow.com/RSBN. Make your night and day just a little bit more peaceful, calmer, get the good night's rest, but also start that day off with a delicious brand of coffee, comfortable pillows, the best bed sheets in the world, quite frankly. They literally use the Ease of Dream sheets if you have not tried them, but especially these 6-piece towel sets back in stock, going for half off right now, under $40 at $39.98. mypillow.com/RSBN. So we await President Trump to give a Rose Garden luncheon at noon. You are looking live there at a special treat. The Vice President of the United States is in Israel. He is observing a military coordination and also meeting with public and private officials. And we have a 2-minute warning. We'll send it right there to you when the Vice President comes out to address individuals there in the state of Israel. Actually, we'll toss it there now. The Vice President of the United States.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to have you. Look, I think that we are 1 week into President Trump's historic peace plan in the Middle East, and things are going, frankly, better than I expected that they were. This is a very, very tough situation. You have two peoples, two enemies who fought a very tough conflict against each other. You have a terrorist organization on one hand that murdered a lot of innocent people. You've got an Israeli army that was defending itself on the other, that has learned a lot over the past couple of years. And of course, you have an innocent civilian population in Gaza that's caught in the middle. But we're here at the Civilian Military Cooperation Center, which we are announcing the opening of. You have Israelis and Americans working hand in hand to try to begin the plan to rebuild Gaza, to implement a long-term peace, and to actually ensure that you have security forces on the ground in Gaza, not composed of Americans, who can keep the peace over the long term. So we've got a lot of work left to do. This is going to take a very, very long time, but I think Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Admiral Cooper behind me have done an incredible job. I want to say just a couple of quick things, and then I want to turn it over to Steve Witkoff. Number one, the Israeli government has been remarkably helpful in this. I want to thank them, thank our Israeli partners, and all the folks particularly who are working hand in hand with their American friends here at the CMCC. And number two, I want to say that there is this weird attitude I've sensed in the American media and the Western media, where there's almost this desire to root for failure, that every time something bad happens, that every time that there's an act of violence, there's this inclination to say, oh, this is the end of the ceasefire, this is the end of the peace plan. It's not the end. It is, in fact, exactly how this is going to have to happen when you have people who hate each other, who have been fighting against each other for a very long time. We are doing very well. We are in a very good place. We're going to have to keep working on it, but I think we have the team to do exactly that. So with all thanks to our partners, both in Israel, but all across the Gulf Arab states, Indonesia, the Turks, we are doing an amazing thing here, and I'm particularly proud of the American troops working at the command center who are coordinating this effort and making it possible. So with that, I want to thank Ambassador Steve Witkoff and turn it over to him to say a few things, and after everybody said a few words, we'll take some questions. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. We're really proud of what's happened here. It's an amazing effort. It's a great coordination between our partners. We have a great team. signing this deal up was a challenge in and of itself, but the implementation, that's where it really is going to be the most important. And I think we are exceeding where we thought we would be at this time. I think the Vice President has come out here. He sees that. The Secretary of State will be out here. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to work with the team that we have, with Jared, who's an extraordinary, the President, of course, and the Vice President, and Admiral Cooper. I would also say this. We're learning so much here. This CMCC that we're setting up now, this is going to be used in other conflicts as we figure out all the intricacies of how to modulate a peace deal, go from war to peace. Lastly, in closing, I want to speak about the morning that me and Jared had. We met with 10 hostages and their families, and it was really an emotional moment. And I felt blessed to be in that room. Lots of tears, lots of people really, really grateful to President Trump for getting their children home, and you, of course, Mr. Vice President. And I want to observe that I didn't see any victims in that room. I saw strong people who have come out under very difficult circumstances. Their families are reunited, and they are so grateful. And it was just my privilege as an American to be there. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Jared?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Steve. First of all, we really appreciate your visit here. It's given a great boost of energy to everyone here, and your support through this whole effort has been really tremendous. What you see here today is really the opening of the CMCC. This has been something that's been envisioned by CENTCOM. Admiral Cooper will speak about that in a bit. But we always knew that the deal that we were working on would kind of have two phases to it. The first phase was obviously getting the live hostages out. We're currently making progress on the hostages, the bodies that are still there. I think almost half are out now, and we had very good meetings with the Israelis. I know the Vice President's here to put a lot of effort into that today to hopefully make sure we can complete that mission in phase 2. At the same time, humanitarian aid, there's actually been surprisingly strong coordination between the United Nations and Israel, which is something that we've been able to help synthesize, get each other to air their concerns and to find out how we can do it better so that the aid reaches the people in Gaza and doesn't go into the wrong hands there. Finally, I'll say that there has already been a lot of efforts over the last years by really concerned people to think about what happens next in Gaza. And there's a lot of great things happening here. More will be released in the coming days. But the most important thing here is to figure out how you really get a good deconfliction coordination center. This really has been a startup. There's been a lot that's been done. It's amazing to think it's only been a week. But I actually, with the pace of work and the commitment of everybody, I think in a week from now you'll see even more progress. I want to echo what the Vice President said about how a lot of people are getting a little hysterical about different incursions one way or the other. But what we are seeing is that things are going in accordance. Both sides are transitioning from 2 years of very intense warfare to now a peacetime posture, and really thanks to Admiral Cooper, CENTCOM, and the CMCC to try to build that deconfliction mechanism in order to make sure that we can get to a proper de-escalation. We have some flags that we put up here. This is not fully representative of the countries that are here. It's happening very rapidly. The people are agreeing to come on board, agreeing to help. People really want to be a part of this, and it's just happening very, very quickly. So we'll try to continue to give the updates as it progresses. But really just thank you to the entire team here who's made all this possible. It's been a lot of sleepless nights, around the clock effort, and it's really been great coordination because everyone believes that it is possible to create something better in Gaza, and we have to believe it, we have to work hard for it, and if we all work hard to do that, then I do believe a great outcome is possible.
Amen.
Well, Mr. Vice President, thank you for joining us here today at the CMCC. Consistent with our Commander-in-Chief's direction, this facility will be the hub for the delivery of everything that goes into Gaza as we look to the future, delivering on the Commander-in-Chief's commitments. 200 of America's sons and daughters who wear the cloth of the nation have stepped up and are serving here. I just couldn't be prouder, and I know that you are as well. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Admiral and gentlemen. We'll take a few questions now. Sir.
Turkey obviously has been a supporter of Hamas. What role will they have, and will they have troops that will be on the ground here or in the Gaza Strip?
Well, I think first of all, what troops are on the ground in Israel is going to be a question the Israelis have to agree to, and I'm sure that Prime Minister Netanyahu will have opinions about that. But we think everybody has a role to play here. Some of that's going to be financial, some of that's going to be in reconstruction, some of that's just in communication with the various parties to ensure that this deconfliction process actually works and is implemented. We're not going to force anything on our Israeli friends when it comes to foreign troops on their soil, but we do think that there's a constructive role for the Turks to play, and frankly, they've already played a very constructive role. We're very grateful for that. And you asked if they've supported Hamas in the past. No one who is a party to this conflict can look in the past and not point at something that they don't like or that they disagree with. Everybody who's been involved in this conflict can point at one other person. One of these flags can point at another flag and say, we hate that person for various reasons. The way that we're going to get to peace is to focus on the future, which is what the President of the United States has asked us to do. And we think everybody here is very willing to do that and is very eager to engage in that effort. Now.
To negotiate. What do you think the likelihood is that it will last long term? If you had to put a number on it, a percentage.
Well, Jared's the investor. I'm not going to give you a percentage, but look, what we've seen the past week gives me great optimism the ceasefire is going to hold. And if we get from where we were a week ago to a long-term, durable peace between Israel and Gaza, there are going to be hills and valleys. There are going to be moments where it looks like things aren't going particularly well. But given that, and given the history of conflict, I think that everybody should be proud of where we are today. It's going to require constant effort. It's going to require constant monitoring and supervision. That's part of the reason that Admiral Cooper and his team is here, is to mediate these disputes, to mediate these disagreements as they come up. But look, right now, I feel very optimistic. Can I say with 100% certainty that it's going to work? No. But you do difficult things by only doing what's 100% certain. You do difficult things by trying, and that's what the President of the United States has asked us to do. Sir.
First of all, thank you for brokering the ceasefire deal. Two questions for you. Hamas was supposed to bring back all the hostages within 72 hours. There are still deceased hostages that are still in Gaza. Will you put a deadline for Hamas to bring back all these hostages? And the second thing, President Trump tweeted about this today, Hamas killing their own people in Gaza, Palestinians who work for Israel. What is your warning to Hamas about that?
Yeah, so Steve, I want to ask you to follow up here, but let me say just a couple of words about the deceased hostages. I mean, one of the stations that I met with, one of the groups that's working on this that I met with earlier, they actually have a photo of the 15 deceased hostages who are still in Gaza. It is a focus of everybody here to get those bodies back home to their families so that they can have a proper burial. Now, that said, this is difficult. This is not going to happen overnight. Some of these hostages are buried under thousands of pounds of rubble. Some of the hostages, nobody even knows where they are. That doesn't mean we shouldn't work to get them, and that doesn't mean we don't have confidence that we will. It's just a reason to counsel in favor of a little bit of patience. This is going to take a little bit of time. And look, our warning to Hamas is very straightforward. The terms of the 20-point plan that the president put out there is very clear. It's supported not just by Israel, but by all of our Gulf Arab friends. It's that Hamas has to disarm. It's that Hamas has to actually behave itself, and that Hamas, while all the fighters can be given some sort of clemency, they're not going to be able to kill each other, and they're not going to be able to kill their fellow Palestinians. Now, again, that's going to take a little bit of time. We're talking about how to set up the security and humanitarian apparatus to put all this in place. But right now, where I stand, I feel confident that we're going to be in a place where this peace lasts, where it's durable. And if Hamas doesn't cooperate, then as the President of the United States has said, Hamas is going to be obliterated. Steve, do you want to add anything about the hostages? Okay, great. Ma'am.
For USA Today. Just to follow up on what you were just saying, how much time does Hamas have to lay down its arms before the United States either takes dramatic action or authorizes its allies to do so?
Well, look, the president actually put out a truth this morning that I thought was very instructive. We know that Hamas has to comply with the deal, and if Hamas doesn't comply with the deal, very bad things are going to happen. But I'm not going to do what the President of the United States has thus far refused to do, which is put an explicit deadline on it, because a lot of this stuff is difficult. a lot of this stuff is unpredictable. You basically have two regions in Gaza, one of which is relatively safe, I wouldn't say very safe, and one of which is incredibly dangerous. And part of ensuring that we get to a durable peace is to broaden the scope of the area that's safe. And the international security force is a big part of that. We don't yet have the international security set up. That's something we're working towards. We have a number of volunteers who want to participate in that international security force. So my point is, I don't think it's actually advisable for us to say this has to be done in a week, because a lot of this work is very hard. It's never been done before. And in order for us to give it a chance to succeed, we've got to be a little bit flexible. I think what you're seeing from our Gulf Arab friends, certainly from our Israeli friends, is a certain amount of impatience with Hamas. But we're going to keep on working at this process, and we're going to keep on trying to bring the deceased hostages home, but also make sure that all Gazans are able to live in a prosperous and safe place. Yes.
So the White House indicated that actually there is a plan to start rebuilding Gaza, the parts of Gaza which is still under Israeli control. Is it so indeed? And can you tell us a little bit about this plan? How is it going to work?
Yeah, Jared, do you want to say a few words about that? Okay.
So, first of all, no reconstruction funds will be going into areas that Hamas still controls. And as far as the demilitarization goes, once the ISF is up, there needs to be a security force that they can feel safe from, that in order for it to be the transition to be complete. So that needs to happen. There are considerations happening now in the area that the IDF controls, as long as that could be secured to start the construction as a new Gaza, in order to give the Palestinians living in Gaza a place to go, a place to get jobs, a place to live. So that's one of the many things being considered. Right now, again, there's been several work streams that have occurred over the last years. Those are all being synthesized and updated here at the center, and then they'll go before President Trump and the Board of Peace to get recommendations on what to build, how to phase it, but that's definitely something now that's being very strongly considered.
Great. Sir? Oh, sorry. Why don't we do the guy in the back, and then we'll do you in the blue jacket. Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Vice President.
Could you speak up for me?
Yeah, I will try. So thank you so much, Mr. Vice President. And my question is, from the level of corporations that you just saw today here in this place, how you see the, let's say, future of normalization in Israel in the region, if you see like a cooperation, growing cooperation between Israel and other Gulf states that we don't see from the outside?
Yeah, well, you know, I think Steve put it best, which is that this model, I think, could serve for a foundation for normalization, not just in the Middle East, but across the world. Because what we're taking, again, is a long-term, protracted conflict with two enemies who really don't like each other, and we're actually creating a model that can lead towards sustainable peace. Now, we know that a lot of our Gulf Arab friends would like to have normalized relations with Israel. We know that getting this peace on a sustainable pathway is sort of the critical first step of that. But look, I feel very optimistic about where we are. Knock on wood, you never know how this stuff is going to go. But given what I've seen, given the incredible talent and effort that's going in to the reconstruction of Gaza, to the long-term security of the Gazans in that territory, I feel very good about where we are. And again, if we get this right, I really do think it's going to be a domino that leads to a lot of further peace all across the region. Sir.
Vice President Francis, firstly, a quick one is, did you come here because you thought Israel massively overreacted to the killing of the two soldiers? And secondly, following the reaction to this fire, do you now believe it is feasible to have a governance structure for Gaza that does not include strong Palestinian forces?
Well, so the first question, no. My visit had nothing to do with events of the past 48 hours. We had actually tried to plan this visit, frankly, months ago, and now we thought this would be a good time to do it. It ended up working out. As you know, sometimes calendars are difficult, especially when you're the Vice President of the United States. But I wanted to come. I wanted to check in on things. I wanted to, talk to the troops who are working very hard to coordinate this massive relief effort. And I wanted to just see how things are going and put some eyes on it so I could call the President of the United States and actually, it's one thing to read about it. It's one thing to talk with Jared and Steve on the phone about what's going on the ground. It's another thing to actually shake somebody's hand, to look them in the eye, and to understand what are the challenges, what are the things they need from me. I mean, I heard from relatively junior troops very simple things that would make their lives easier that I'm going to take back to Washington and hopefully help them with. That's why you do a visit like this, not because of anything that's happening on the ground. On your question about what is the ultimate, authority in Gaza look like, I don't know the answer to that question. And I think what's so cool, what's so amazing about what these guys have done is that we're creating a governance structure that is very flexible to what happens on the ground in the future. We need to reconstitute Gaza. We need to reconstruct Gaza. We need to make sure that both the Palestinians living in Gaza, but also the Israelis, are able to live in some measure of security and stability. We're doing all those things simultaneously. And then I think once we've got to a point where both the Gazans and our Israeli friends can have some measure of security, then we'll worry about what the long-term governance of Gaza is. Let's focus on security, rebuilding, giving people some food and medicine. If we get to the point where we're arguing exactly what the governance structure in Gaza is long-term, then we should pat ourselves on the back. That's a very good problem to have, but I won't anticipate that problem before we actually have it. I'll take a couple more and then we'll get moving. Ma'am. You speak up.
Renata Brito with the Associated Press. Could you give a bit more details about the International Security Force? Which countries are going to be part of this? Are these troops in Gaza? And also about the disarmament plan or decommission plan. Are there incentives for Hamas to do that in a timely fashion? Any details?
The incentives are that unless Hamas disarms in accordance with the agreement, very bad things are going to happen, right? And also the incentive is that if they disarm, there is a better future for everybody on the other side of it. But in terms of the International Security Force, Steve and Jared, Admiral Cooper, are working on that very issue right now. Remember, this peace deal was struck under the president's leadership literally a week ago. The hostages were returned, what, 6 days ago, 5 days ago? So we're in the phase now where we're actually starting to conceptualize what that International Security Force would look like. I think it's important for Americans to know a couple of things. Number one, there are not going to be American boots on the ground in Gaza. The President of the United States has made that very clear. All of our military leadership has made that very clear. What we can do is provide some useful coordination. How do you take, the Gulf Arab states, plus Israel, plus, plus the Turks, plus the Indonesians? How do you actually get those folks to work together in a way that actually produces long-term peace? The only real mediators are the United States of America. And so that's the role that we're going to play. I think the American people should be proud of it. They should know that there are going to be no American boots on the ground in Gaza. Sir in the back.
I'd like to ask about a different threat. We see Iran rearming again, trying to build again their nuclear weapon. Could we expect in Israel to see the U.S. Army attacking again in Iran?
Could you ask the very last part?
Could we expect the U.S. Army to attack again in Iran like you did in the last time for it?
Well, I'm not going to make any announcements here today. The President of the United States has been very clear about our policy with regards to Iran. It's that he actually wants Iran to be prosperous. He wants to have good relations with the Iranians, but they cannot have a nuclear weapon. And so we're going to keep on using and exhausting every diplomatic means possible to try to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. That's our focus, and that will remain our focus for the indefinite future. Let me just leave us with one final thought here. So I've been to Israel once in my entire life. I came for about 36 hours, and as a Christian, I think the world's Christians will know that this country, that this region of the world means a great deal to me. And at some point today, I hope to go, or at some point in the next couple of days, I should say, I hope to go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which Christians believe is the site that Jesus Christ was crucified in. And I know that Christians have many titles for Jesus Christ, and one of them is the Prince of Peace. And I'd ask all people of faith, in particular my fellow Christians, to pray that the Prince of Peace can continue to work a miracle in this region of the world. I think that we have made incredible strides over the past week. We're going to have to make a lot more, but I think with your prayers, with God's providence, and with a very good team behind me, I think we're going to get it done. Thank you all. Take care.
Amen.
Some very encouraging developments by the Vice President of the United States and command there in southern Israel, where that aid and that continued rebuilding process will be going through that center as announced by military leadership there in conjunction with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who have done extraordinary things for the Middle East in these peace propositions, the ongoing negotiations, and ultimately what led to a deal last week. And as the Vice President has said, it's going even better than what was once anticipated. So thank you to the Vice President of the United States, and we're hoping that you enjoyed that slight surprise today. The Vice President would be giving some remarks from southern Israel on a quick excursion over the next couple of days. So we'll watch his movements and steps there as he continues to tour an area that has been war-torn over the course of the last couple of years and throughout the centuries. Thank you to Monetary Gold for wealth security preservation. Grab your complimentary presidential gold guide today with that handsome gentleman on the front of that, Mr. 45 and 47. Call today. Do not delay. It's 888-617-7994. That's how you can eliminate your annual IRA fees permanently and for life with rsbnforthegold.com. Robert Kiyosaki warning the American people about bank failures and what are you to do to solely rely on paper-thin money with the way inflation has skyrocketed, and something that the BRICS nations want to see weaken. We do have a weak dollar in the United States right now, but a bull market with silver, gold going up thousands of percentage points since President Trump took office January 20th. So check out rsbnforthegold.com. It almost reminds me of the upcoming Winter Olympic Games in Italy, just in February. But in the meantime, get a piece of the gold and silver and bronze that can be around the necks of those athletes. Monetary Gold, it's wealth security preservation for you, for your retirement, your securities, everything you worked hard for, your pension. Back it up with diversification in gold and silver with the best in the business, Monetary Gold at rsbnforthegold.com. We have been on air for a decade. As your go-to rally network, we are now your go-to live desk, and we are just getting started. Support us right here at Brightside Broadcasting Network. It's rsbnetwork.com/donate. You may also text RSBN to 801-801 for an online prompt. If you like checks and money orders, hey, we'd like them too. 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344. It's the loveliest village on the plains. Auburn, Alabama, 36830 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344. Auburn, Alabama, 36830. Thank you for your support here on the right side of history, as we are always here for you, the viewers. Also, Kalshi.com/RSBN. Will Bitcoin hit the 150K mark before March of 2026? Will the New York City mayoral election, which takes place 2 weeks from today, November 4th, and early voting beginning this Saturday, will they elect a communist? The Democrat nominee, Zoran Madani, he wants to socialize the farmers markets on Saturdays, perhaps the most inexpensive thing in New York City. Man, I love visiting that gorgeous city. If you could make it there, you can make it anywhere, but God forbid a communist takes over the reins of power. Will Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York, who was in so much controversy over the COVID years, but again, lots of lawfare going his direction as it went in President Trump's direction. Will he make a political comeback that's not near what President Trump achieved, but still a big one as a former governor of the Empire State to become a Democrat turned independent mayor of New York City? Of course, Curtis Sliwa in the race. He's been the back-to-back Republican nominee endorsed by America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. So we'll watch that closely as the Garden State has an election in 2 weeks, as well as the Commonwealth of Virginia. We've heard a lot about that, including the House Speaker and Republican leadership, the whip, Tom Emmer from Minnesota, speaking on just that. Jay Jones running for Attorney General in Virginia and barely being able to mutter the apologize words towards Republican colleagues that he wants murdered, including their children. It's unbelievable when you think about that. So we'll watch these very important races that will lead up to 2026. Will the Los Angeles Dodgers repeat the World Series championship? Well, they're in the World Series back-to-back. That's official. So scan that QR code now, Kalshi.com/RSBN. It's sports, music, politics, culture. It's the American story as we know it in this golden era. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Thank you for sponsoring us on the right side of history. As these races are taking shape, we'll have many different congressmen to congressional candidates on the show in the coming weeks before the holidays, leading up into, of course, 2026, which will be a barn burner of an election because the Democrats have pledged to, again, impeach Trump. They run on get Trump, to quote people like Tish James, whose job is to put law first, to enforce the law. But instead of doing that, it's the lawfare and the false allegations and accusations, claiming that Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million. It's much more than that, as we saw in a recent tour from Eric Trump on the gorgeous grounds in Palm Beach, Florida, the Southern White House. It's 11:40 on the East Coast, 8:40 on the West Coast. Good afternoon and good morning. Well, good morning right now. It will be a good afternoon to you, America, and those watching abroad. Thank you for always tuning into your go-to live desk. Let's take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. President Trump to host a Rose Garden luncheon in the new and improved Rose Garden Club at high noon on a gorgeous day in the Federal City. Don't change that dial. It's Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we
Who's excited to see Trump? Welcome, guys.
In 2015, we proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Tired of being told no by your doctor, your pharmacy, or worse, your insurance company?
I do pray that everything that Trump's trying to do works
That's
out.
why more and more people are turning to all family pharmacies.
Gaza
We
people
believe
can
in medical
actually
freedom.
thrive
We
and
deliver
not
the
have to
prescription and the
fear.
medication, all from licensed U.S. doctors and pharmacists, from ivermectin and trusted antibiotics to maintenance medications, even NAD+.
Trump has actually done a lot since he got into office this year.
At checkout for 10% off your first order. Every once in a
I'm
while,
honestly very
something
proud
big
of him.
happens, something that changes everything. And now, in a defining moment for crypto, Trump Media Group and Crypto.com are joining forces to acquire up to $6.4 billion of CRO, launching America's first ever CRO treasury, empowering the Kronos blockchain. This is more than a partnership. It's the future of finance built in America. For more, visit Crypto.com, where millions trade CRO every day.
Hey y'all, it's Sil from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live Show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch
Stay in prayer, guys.
on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I'll look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Right Side Broadcasting Network as we await President Trump at the top of the hour to host a Rose Garden luncheon at the Rose Garden Club, new and improved. A slight preview of what we will see. We've seen some dinners there. We saw last week where they honored the late, great Charlie Kirk with the highest civilian honor, the Medal of Freedom. It's the only one with a cross on it. Charles James Kirk, his name right under that cross on the back of that medal, a very special and fitting tribute to an all-American original. And we now fill very big shoes, literally and figuratively speaking, to carry on a mission that he tracked miles and miles by land, air, and sea, and by foot at times, in order to get the message out there of not only the gospel, but why this nation is the greatest civilization to have ever existed. Constitutional republic that's based in Isaiah 33:22, if I have my chapter and verse correctly, that our founders recognized that God was everything, the lawmaker to the executive, the purveyor and defender of the law, and ultimately the judge. But they knew that human shortcomings could get the better of man. They devised a constitutional system that had three branches. The Article 1 consisting of the legislative, the congressional, Article 2 with the executive and the enforcement of those laws, and ultimately the judiciary to determine whether or not laws passed and signed into law and ultimately enforced, the question of whether or not they are constitutional. And it stood the test of time, nearly 250 years. And really what's been a reclaiming of our civilization. It's not so much Republican versus Democrat, but rather we the people versus a bloated bureaucracy, as James Comey has filed paperwork to dismiss the charges against him. Two motions to dismiss the charges against him, claiming that Trump's prosecution is payback, but it's simply the fact that no one is above the law. And they will be afforded, whether it's Tish James or James Comey, they're innocent before proven guilty. So they will receive liberty and justice for all, as guaranteed by our founding documents. But it's something that the Democrats clearly have a very relative relationship towards, because on one hand they'll tell you that illegal aliens are not receiving health care benefits, yet on this hand they said they will do just that, especially during their presidential debates. And then they mix terminology, calling some of these illegal aliens American citizens, which is not factually accurate. Even worse, you have governors like J.B. Pritzker who are harboring illegal aliens, which is a violation of U.S. Code 8, Section 1324, the illegal harboring of doing just that. Protection for illegal aliens. We have that video ready, Mr. Producer. If we could just go through once again before this luncheon, the Democrats' mind-boggling mental gymnastics that they go through on a daily basis in regards to this very issue.
Federal law prohibits the expenditure of taxpayer dollars on providing health care to undocumented immigrants. Nowhere have Democrats suggested that we're interested in changing federal law.
Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
I did universal health care when I was mayor, fully implemented, regardless of pre-existing condition ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. San Francisco is the only universal health care plan for all undocumented residents in America. I'm very proud of that.
Current federal law is clear. Taxpayer dollars cannot be spent on Medicaid or Medicare or the Affordable Care Act related to undocumented immigrants. And not a single Democrat has raised the issue of trying to reverse that federal law.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
We do ourselves no favors by having 11 million undocumented people in our country be unable to access health care.
Federal law clearly prohibits the expenditure of taxpayer dollars to provide health care to undocumented immigrants, period, full stop. And no Democrat on Capitol Hill is trying to change that law.
We have, of course, J.D. Vance out saying that all we want to do is provide, I say we, a Democrat, provide care for illegal aliens. That's his language. And of course,
That's just not true what he's saying.
The American people know that Republicans have shut the government down because of their unwillingness to provide health care to everyday Americans, working class Americans, and middle class Americans.
Founding father and the first vice president, second president of the United States, John Adams, once stating that facts are stubborn things. And there again we see the mental gymnastics of the Democrat Party on a gorgeous fall day right there outside of the West Wing. Slightly windy, but all is well there at the White House. Thank you to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN for your fall, flu, cold, sniffle needs, whether it's Tamiflu to ivermectin, antibiotics, antivirals, and much, much more. 200 essential medications, including NAD+, methylene blue. These life-saving medications also great to fight parasites with those cleanses, if it's ivermectin or NAD+, methylene blue, as mentioned before, able to help with dementia or sleep problems, as well as studies continue on these drugs that have been out for over 50 years, one actually winning a Nobel Peace Prize, but for some reason, Big Pharmaceutical doesn't necessarily want them available for you. So where to turn? It's the online family pharmacy that believes in the right to try and most favored nation status, as President Trump does. Scan the QR code there now. It's code RSBN10. That's 10% off of ivermectin, Tamiflu, antibiotics, antivirals, emergency medical kits, and much, much more. When the pharmacies are backed up this time of year, urgent care through the door, good to have life-saving medication on hand at home and for your travels. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. To continue with no red tape and no bureaucracy, take care of your skin with the miracle that is angelpaste.com. The vitamin B infused, non-GMO, no chemical Miracle Cream, one of my favorites. I use it on a daily basis. There's also the orange option, crucial this time of year, with the vitamin C infused cream that goes right into your skin and can give you an extra bolster of defense in the cold and flu season. They also have a facial spray, all natural, based in Spring, Texas, off the Gulf of America. They were tired of chemicals and dyes and the nasty things you can find in other options. So the miracle that is this Christian-based company who prioritizes the hiring of United States military veterans, right there for you, angelpaste.com, one of my favorites. I love to follow their Instagram stories, and they are very active on social media as well. But you can find the miracle, all of their options, right there at angelpaste.com. As we are roughly 10 minutes away from President Trump's scheduled luncheon in the Rose Garden, a new and improved version of the Rose Garden that sits off of the 45-second walk, as they call it, from the colonnade into the Oval Office, from the residence to the working area of the President of the United States. Of course, he does have that private office upstairs as well, but if we were to categorize or put President Trump into a box, which I don't think we necessarily can, because he's such a historical figure, he's such a decisive president, he will go down with the names that are on Mount Rushmore. There's no question about that, from Washington to Teddy Roosevelt, to Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson, amongst the greats, with what he's been able to accomplish in a relative short period of time. And we have over 3 years left until January 2029. Thanks be to God for that. But yesterday, taking the time out with cut number one, Mr. Producer, to celebrate Louisiana State University, also their satellite campus at Shreveport that went 59-0 in the NAIA college baseball wing of the NCAA. So that's really an impressive move of Division I AA. That's quite a stat. I mean, to be good in baseball, you should win about roughly 2/3 of your games. If you look professionally, that's basically pulling 2 games out of the 3 at your host or visiting stadiums. And these guys did it perfect. So worth celebrating. President Trump played some baseball himself at the military academy in high school. But we can toss it there now to showcase what took place in the East Room just yesterday.
Guys have very strong hands, I'm noticing, you know. They're ripping my hand up. These are strong people.
Congratulations to both Louisiana State University and LSU Shreveport for extraordinary seasons and winning national championships right here in 2020. 25. As the FBI continues delivering results for the American people, cut to Mr. Producer, President Trump has full faith in his Department of Justice, led by Attorney General Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, the new FBI director under my administration, doing an incredible job. Since January 20th, more than 28,000 violent criminals have been arrested. It's record-breaking, with over 6,000 illegal weapons seized, more than 1,700 child predators and 300 human traffickers taken off the streets, 5,000 innocent children rescued, 2,000 criminal enterprises disrupted, 1,900 kilos of fentanyl, enough to kill 125 million people. That's over a third of our nation taken out. Historic results. We are bringing law and order back to America. Cash, Dan, Andrew, and the men and women of the FBI doing a tremendous job making America safe again. The crucial thing to do in this day and age. And that's why you hear from these Democrat mayors like a Brandon Johnson in Chicago talking about the record low crime. Much of this is to do with the federal government's being involved to enforce the laws. So a thank you or even a phone call to collaborate is in order, as still many of our cities not having the safety that should truly be there. In a couple of weeks, again, the Garden State has a gubernatorial election up there in New Jersey. Jack Ciattarelli is running again back-to-back Republican nominations, and this Italian-American who has been really hitting the ground as a common sense Main Street candidate has really had common sense on energy with cut number 3, Mr. Producer, President Trump dedicating 2 of his truths to Jack Ciattarelli's campaign, saying he's a winner for New Jersey. Mickey Sherrill, his opponent, is the exact opposite, a stone-cold loser who will drive your energy costs through the roof, just like the Democrats are doing all over the country, but even more so because she has no understanding of what she is doing. Put simply, Jack Ciattarelli will bring your energy costs down to a new low. And Mickey Sherrill will do the exact opposite. Energy costs under her will go up by levels never seen before. Mickey has no clue as to what she is doing. New Jersey, vote for Jack Ciattarelli. He will never let you down. And then cut number 4, President Trump doubling down on a much longer discussion on that very topic. The wonderful New Jersey gubernatorial candidate, who is Jack Ciattarelli, is doing very well in the polls against the very fake and corrupt Mickey Sherrill, who will bring energy down in New Jersey by record amounts. He calls me constantly wanting assurances that I will use the power of the common sense on helping New Jersey with the energy bills, which are going up by record amounts. Jack's the man who will bring down costs rapidly, both in particular energy costs, because he knows that everything else will follow. Mickey Sherrill, on the contrary, has energy policies and concepts that will double and triple prices in the Garden State of New Jersey. Unlike Jack, there have been no calls to Washington saying, what will we do with this rapidly rising electric and other costs? I mean, this is something that hits Americans on a daily basis, but President Trump stating, I have brought energy way down with gasoline soon to hit $2 with everything else following. If Mickey, who was essentially thrown out of her school for cheating and wasn't even allowed to walk through her graduating classes, ever involved in government, energy prices will soar at a record level. Unlike Jack, nobody from her group is calling the White House in order to take advantage of the record drops in overall energy costs. Jack Ciattarelli is a good man who understands business, and the unusually named Mickey, perhaps her only asset, will drive energy costs up like no governor in history. She will be a disaster for New Jersey. Vote Jack Ciattarelli. He will never let you down. We've seen that President Trump very popular in New Jersey and came very close to winning that state in the election. We'll see how that carries over into this year. We look forward to that as the White House releasing, just as President Trump mentioned, how energy prices are going down. They've hit a 4-year low. Americans are seeing some of the lowest prices at the gas pump in more than 4 years of President Trump's relentless commitment to American energy production paying off on a daily basis. Now, Gas Buddy reporting the nationwide average for gasoline has dropped to $2.98 per gallon, the lowest average intraday price in 4 years, with prices expected to remain that way for the foreseeable future. Currently, 35 states have average gas prices below $2.99 a gallon. That's happening right here in Alabama. And Gas Buddy even recorded the first $1.99 cash price at a station in Evans, Colorado, with stations in Oklahoma and Texas not far behind. Again, all according to Gas Buddy. Barring any major disruptions, gas prices are likely to remain slightly below year-ago levels and could stay under $3 for as much as the next few months. So President Trump understands that energy prices and dominance, the key driver in all of this, shaping results for the American people, making good on a promise that he made on the campaign trail repeatedly that under the Biden-induced economic disaster, prices were higher than ever before. In fact, under AutoPen, average gas prices remained above $3 per gallon nearly for the entirety of his presidency. And from Miami to Baltimore to Birmingham to Eugene, Oregon, Homer City, Pennsylvania, Wichita Falls, Texas, and Green Bay, Wisconsin, all reporting this trend in their local medias across the board. So exciting to see that, as hopefully it brings some cut to costs on your weekly basis here in America, in your neck of the woods, as it is right about that high noon in the East Coast in Washington, D.C., about 9 o'clock on the golden west coast of California. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network's live desk as we continue coverage. President Trump to host a Rose Garden lunch in moments from now. Thank you to covepier.com/RSBN, your go-to reverse osmosis machine. It's no bigger than your coffee maker on your kitchen counter. Let me tell you about the ClearWave technology, removing 99.9% of the impurities out of your water. Impurities like lead, remember Flint, Michigan, to fluoride, agricultural runoff, pesticides, even hormone-disrupting blockers like birth control, because water treatment plants do not get 100% of those out of the water. So what are you to do? Well, protect you and yours by drinking pure and living pure and heeding the warnings of JAMA Pediatrics, stating that students drinking out of the tap water, young people on a regular basis, they can lose up to 2 or more points on their IQ. So something not worth the risk by any means. Scan that QR code now, covepure.com/RSBN. Protect what matters most. As Secretary Kennedy, working with governors across this great nation of ours to make America healthy again, Utah and Florida, in fact, introducing legislation to remove fluoride from the water. So a good thing to follow suit. I would not necessarily recommend following government, but in these cases, it's the right thing to do with covepure.com/RSBN, $200 off right now. In the meantime, save time and money and, quite frankly, heartache. Just get the other stuff that's necessary done throughout your day instead of wasting time online. How many times do you browse? And my goodness, it's already the afternoon. You've wasted all that time. Well, Perplexity, the newest sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, has a new AI-powered browser, and you can visit this personal assistant of yours to get and become acquainted with pplx.ai/RSBN. Browse at the speed of thought with comments. So unlock 1 month free of Rumble Premium. In doing so, you end up communicating with the rest of your company. Perhaps it's bi-coastal, and you have 3 hours separating one another, but you're meeting in the middle to find the best Tex-Mex in the Lone Star State. All in preparation for that really, really big meeting coming up when it deals with acquisition and mergers. You have other things to think about rather than finding that best restaurant. Allow Comet to serve you by not only searching and finding what's best, but sending it to your business partners in order to organize a working dinner at the browse of thought. The speed of thought, all powered by Perplexity, its AI browser named Comet. pplx.ai/RSBN. Peace of mind. It makes your workday go faster instead of wasting 30 minutes to 3 hours online searching for things. End up getting it done in a matter of seconds to minutes. It's all booked and all ready to go. Your reservation there for you. Nothing to worry about amongst many other different items and tools that you use for your online browsing. It's Perplexity's comments as we are looking forward to this Rose Garden luncheon with the President of the United States. In the meantime, let's take a quick commercial break for sponsorships, but don't change that dial. It's a gorgeous day in Auburn, Alabama, and a beautiful day right there in the nation's capital. This is Right Side Broadcasting Network Live.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Together we stand strong.
Don't be
united,
scared to
and
chat with me.
So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Sil from the Diamond Silk Chit Chat Live Show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I'd love to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much.
I cannot wait till Trump gets on. Here we go.
Broadcasting Network and cut number 11, Mr. Producer. From the Golden Arches to the White House, President Trump has done a lot in 1 year. That was 1 year ago this week when he was
At
working at
McDonald's.
McDonald's, an honorary employee, and stating that he had worked one more day than Ms. Kamala Harris, the 49th Vice President of the United States, at America's favorite fast food chain, and maybe if it's not the favorite, at least perhaps the most recognizable and the most famous that really started it all. And it might seem silly, but it's really President Trump's appeal that he showcased on the campaign trail leading up to a final 2-week sprint that was unlike any other. It's so good being a veteran of countless campaigns, 2 of my own personal campaigns, a city council run and a state rep run. It is great to have a candidate, whether it's yourself or whoever you're working for or volunteering for, to simply push them over the finish line rather than pulling them. And this man was a full sprint ahead. There's no question about it, as he left even the media exhausted from following him, but it was the pleasure of a lifetime, and I would do it all over again to witness American history in the front row, and the most special part of it, speaking to you, the American people. But that leads to number 5, Mr. Producer, the White House ballroom updates. Some exciting ones to give before this Rose Garden luncheon that the president is pleased to announce that ground has been broken on the White House grounds to build the new big, beautiful White House ballroom. Again, the golden arches of McDonald's, the golden arches of the federal city, completely separate from the White House itself. The East Wing is being fully modernized as part of this process and will be more beautiful than ever when it is complete. For more than 150 years, every president dreamt about having a ballroom at the White House to accommodate people for grand parties and state visits. And I am honored to be the first president to finally get this much-needed project underway with zero cost to the American taxpayer. The White House ballroom is being privately funded by many generous patriots, great American companies, and yours truly. This ballroom will be happily used for generations to come. President DJ T. And I wonder if he'll DJ like he does at the Southern White House at Mar-a-Lago for those many gatherings with patriots. We saw some of those donors last week at that Wednesday evening gala with many donors of this project and saw some of those arches that were first shown to the media in the West Wing just last week, which will be on the bridges leading from the Commonwealth of Virginia into and outside of the Federal District of Columbia. So we look forward to this beautification happening, this golden era, the two flagpoles looking glorious as ever on a bright, sunny day in this autumn season in October on the 21st, a Tuesday. A great celebration with you. And it's always a celebration being with the fine viewers here at Right Side Broadcasting Network Live. To go through as well, President Trump also nominating a couple of crucial people to the bench with cut number 7, Mr. Producer. Mr. William Crane is nominated to the federal bench. I am pleased to announce the nomination of William Crane to serve as judge of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Louisiana. William is a proud graduate of Louisiana State University and has dedicated his life to serving Louisiana, a place I love and won big 3 times. As a lifelong state court judge and currently a justice on the Louisiana State Supreme Court, William has proven to be the wisdom and the courage required to put our Constitution first. Now more than ever, we need judges who will hold violent criminals accountable, enforce the rule of law, and protect our inalienable rights. I trust that William, who is highly qualified and respected, to continue to make his state and our nation proud. Congratulations, William, as we also say congratulations to Alexander Van Hook. That is number 8 there, Mr. Producer. I'm proud to announce the nomination of this gentleman, Mr. Alexander Van Hook, to serve as judge of the United States District Court, again, for the Western District of Louisiana. Alexander attended St. Terry College of Louisiana before attending Louisiana State University. Lots to celebrate with LSU this time of year for his Juris Doctorate as acting United States Attorney for the Western District of Louisiana, and previously as a prosecutor in the same office for more than 25 years. Alexander has proven his commitment to serving the incredible people of Louisiana and protecting their constitutional rights. I have total confidence that Alexander will continue to serve his state and our country with great distinction in this new role. Congratulations, Alexander, on that. So an exciting time for this country and an exciting time for legal victories, as Secretary Noem with cut number 13, Mr. Producer, stating another victory for the president, legally speaking, on these very issues. The U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit ruled that at real Donald Trump, the president is rightfully using his constitutional authority to direct the National Guard to protect federal assets, personnel, and public safety in Portland, Oregon. The law, U.S. Constitution, and Supremacy Clause back the president's action to protect the public and law enforcement. And today, his ruling has vindicated us. There's no question about that, as those who have ruled against this in different jurisdictions are clearly Obama and Otto Penn appointed judges who want to legislate from the bench. This is rare that an insurrection act or even the use of National Guard is, if ever, used. But 28 times presidents have used this. In fact, there have been much worse situations in supposed overstep by presidents of the United States. President Trump is clearly within the letter of the law. He is a constitutional commander-in-chief. I ask those who are criticizing, should George Washington have ignored the Whiskey Rebellion in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in 1792? Should Lincoln have held himself back, as President Trump likely would have, with the suspension of habeas corpus that happened in the Civil War? He ended up with a Greco-Roman shrine as the savior of the Republic. But there were far overreaches during the Civil War by the federal government in regards to the executive. And as much as I admire an Abraham Lincoln, it's worth noting history and knowing that history in regards to overreach by the executive. What about in 1992, most recent, the LA riots, where former President George H.W. Bush authorized National Guard into Los Angeles after the Rodney King riots, which resulted in 60 dead. You can end up with 60 dead in the last 25 years over the course of 1 month in the city of Chicago, with the way the violence has gone, traditionally from gangs on the south and far west sides, but now it's spilled over into everywhere with Lori Lightfoot and now Brandon Johnson, who were strictly against law enforcement, who instructed their law enforcement to not listen to the commands or work in conjunction with federal ICE officers who are being bombarded in the Broadview facilities just 50 miles southwest of the city of Broad Shoulders. We could talk about countless different examples where presidents have authorized the National Guard, to Dwight D. Eisenhower and JFK, to then Lyndon Johnson when it came to civil rights, the Little Rock Nine, the integration right here in Alabama of public universities, most famously displayed in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with the University of Alabama. It's in our media culture with great films like Forrest Gump that superimpose Tom Hanks' character into picking up the books of black students who had to be let into the halls of the University of Alabama with the National Guard there against Dixiecrat George Wallace's attempt to use Jim Crow and violate ultimately the United States Constitution, going up against Brown versus the Board of Education. I could talk about this all day. So for those naysayers out there, there's somehow this whole talk of authoritarianism and no kings. It's laughable. You're a bunch of clowns, and we know that many of you are not only paid agitators by George Soros.
Exactly.
It's not a Republican talking point. It's been funded clearly by him. And perhaps this administration, as it's been stated, is looking into those sources and where that money comes from. But if you look at the display of who was united behind this ridiculous rally this past Saturday, communists, Democrats, Socialists of America, far-left organizations, sadly including the League of Women Voters, which has somehow become this socialist mantra and a shield of those on the far left. But the beautiful thing is, though, if you were simply just going out there and doing it peacefully and patriotically, we support your First Amendment rights to free speech, but you have to ask the question, why are billionaires trying to fund a movement to dismantle our constitutional republic? And President Trump can do it better than I, with comedy and stating simply that those out there, thank you for being out there. I didn't realize that a king was trying to overthrow me as president, because if he was a king, he would not talk to the Congress. He would not have House and Senate leadership on both sides of the aisle sitting across from him across the Resolute desk in the West Wing. That's just a simple fact. As it's 12:16 on the East Coast, or 9:16 on the West Coast, President Trump to host the Rose Garden luncheon there. Let's see if we get a live shot of the president himself. There's a quick look at the Space Force flag and the Coast Guard, and that gorgeous portrait of the 40th president of the United States. And Senator Josh Hawley there from the great state of Missouri, as they put it, the Show Me State. And Josh Hawley, one of the finest there in the United States Senate, that speaks truth to power. Let's get a quick commercial break for some more sponsorships right before this Rose Garden luncheon. Stick with us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Alrighty, Trump should be here soon. There's literally a lot going on right now around the world, and I just pray that everything gets worked out. I have faith that it will. But I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. What's everybody's thought on all of this? There's Trump. Actually, pray that we get to actually see Trump eat, because that would be awesome. Okay, after this one, it usually comes back on. God bless you guys, and thank you for the likes. No? And if you haven't hit the like button, please do. Please subscribe if you are new. And don't be scared to chat with me. I will chat while we're waiting on Trump.
Live shot there. The door is open from the colonnade into the Oval Office, a new and improved Oval Office that recently welcomed the great tenor Andrea Bocelli. And I've been seeing all over social media as well. I really appreciate this idea. Tell us what you think. Feedback at rsbn.tv. But the fact that Andrea Bocelli, who was there, who's always been enormously gracious, who I don't think we know necessarily his political opinions, doesn't matter, no. He's been very gracious towards the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, of Italian-American heritage, to Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, who's doing a remarkable job as a right-wing populist and changing what was a corrupt system. And there we got a glimpse of the President of the United States right there, working hard on your behalf behind that resolute desk, the same desk that is from the HMS Elizabeth, I believe a gift from the United Kingdom to the United States from that ship, where FDR had a flank placed there, so you did not see the wheelchair. Also where a young John Kennedy played with his father under that desk. Some White House history for you as we look into the Oval Office, and the Resolute desk being one of the more popular ones used by modern presidents. Of course, they have roughly 7 different desks to choose from, but that Resolute is quite a popular one that has been used by many of the recent presidents. Perhaps we'll have a whole show dedicated to the decor within not only the Oval Office, but the entire White House as well, because there's a lot of history there. A lot of history the Clintons actually had to return when they took some of Thomas Jefferson's properties, and they said, you know, it's a former president and former Madam First Lady, then United States Senator, please return what is the property of the United States government. So some fun facts there as we look towards President Trump hosting a Rose Garden luncheon today, and that Rose Garden sitting right off of the Oval Office, traditionally a wonderful staging area, as presidents have made their way out to the Rose Garden for different ceremonies, and most recently last week for Charlie Kirk receiving the highest civilian honor from a president, the Medal of Freedom, and so deservedly so for going into the campuses, engaging them. And we've seen over the course of this Turning Point tour, which is coming right here to Auburn University in 2 weeks from now, on November 5th, thousands of people showing up for these events, and some big names in the movement, from Megyn Kelly to Governor Spencer Cox in Utah, to Glenn Beck. And right here in Auburn, Alabama, we'll play host to Eric and Laura Trump, Benny Johnson, and also Senator Tommy Tuberville, the former coach of Auburn University's football program, who is seeking the governorship of the Yellow Hammer State. So an exciting campaign to watch. We've interviewed him right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We look forward to more discussions, as America's agricultural section has completely had an overhaul, but it's still a discussion and still a fight in regards to the Chinese Communist Party and how much of that land they own as a result of the auto pen incompetency of the last administration. They've surrounded military bases. It's presumed that it's been for spy missions and other operations here in the United States. We saw that weather balloon that went from all the way from Montana to coast of South Carolina before being shot down. But it's frightening to think what we know now is President Trump ending 8 major conflicts around the world in this short period of time, roughly 9 months, not even 4 the calendar year since he's been in office. Some threats that really threatened not only Western civilization, but our own humanity, and ultimately some that did not as well, whether it was the Congo and Rwanda, but it was the right thing to do. And with tariffs, with trade, with conversation and dialogue, the 45th and 47th Commander-in-Chief that you catch glimpses of here as he takes a seat at the Resolute desk to go through more files and more work on what is always a jam-packed day for the Commander-in-Chief. Getting involved to really save millions of lives. This one life, as Secretary Kennedy putting that in the Oval Office
There's
just
our
last
president,
week
guys.
with the IVF treatments and funding with public and private partnerships surrounded by those families that benefited from that. Secretary Kennedy mentioning that President Trump said aboard Air Force One, I'm not sure if I'll get into heaven. And he said, sir, you are doing God's work in all of this. And as the HHS Secretary mentioned, for 19 years he prayed on his knees to God, asking him to partner with or bring someone to him who will make America healthy again. And at that Turning Point Action event where the former Democrat candidate turned independent candidate for President of the United States suspended his campaign and endorsed President Trump, stating that it was that man that God brought me. It was President Trump. And the traditional conservative and liberal thinkers coming together really over common sense, ultimately. Because I don't think you can pinpoint a label on President Trump other than the question of what is make America great again. It's common sense. It's an America first foreign policy. It's the antithesis to communism, Islamism, and secular globalist humanist thought that is riddled within the United Nations and a globalist movement, a new world order that simply wants to take down Western civilization, that does not respect borders, that does not respect sovereignty. It by no means means that we cannot celebrate diversity of thought, of skin color, of difference of backgrounds. That's what this country is all about. In fact, those who are for true diversity, equity, and inclusion, as the left puts it, really are the common sense, right of center people in America. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I will talk journalistic standards or simple opinion. This is an opinion that DEI on the left is simply to control people. But as you see the pattern of behavior, the left doesn't look at people as individuals. And the Democrat Party as a whole must remain alive and in power by putting people into different groups based on simple things they cannot control, like their birth rate, their background, to what they look like. Whereas this MAGA movement is the bringing together of conservatives, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, and everyone in between in a big tent effort to help save the country, make it safe again, wealthy, healthy, and ultimately great again. But what say you about all this as we watch President Trump at the Resolute desk at the Oval Office in the West Wing of the White House? A special place to be on this Tuesday, October 21st, as we look forward to President Trump hosting a Rose Garden luncheon, and it must be just a gorgeous day in the nation's capital. We'll have the door open there to get some fresh air. Fall is the most lovely time of year. So feel free to write in and talk to us about what you think on this October 21st. Feedback at rsbn.tv. We read it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. We welcome it here on Right Side Broadcasting Network's live desk. Now, we heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson earlier today, also Republican leadership on day 21 of the government shutdown, and we know what the mission is. It's very clear there to keep this shut down so the Palestinian senator from New York City can have a shot at defeating and appeasing his far left base in AOC. He's afraid of her running against him for the United States Senate come 2028. But the Democrats seem to really struggle on messaging, as it looks like President Trump is about to head out to the Rose Garden. Let's go there live to the Oval Office. Here comes President Trump entering the Rose Garden.
There's my president.
Thanks.
God bless you, Trump.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. What a friendly group this is. No Democrats are here, right? Well, I want to thank everybody. This has been a labor of love. You know, we took out a building that was not properly taken care of. It just wasn't. It's a very special building, and we are taking care of it. This was grass, and when you have a news conference, and this was going on for many years, but everybody would just sink into the mud. It was extremely luxurious grass, especially when it was raining, because you'd go down about 5 inches into the mud. And when we had a press conference here, all the press standing back there, they'd be cursing. The women would be lifting up their shoes, saying, "You've destroyed my shoes, this is terrible." So we got a stone that's the exact same stone and color as the White House itself, because we wanted the friendly feeling of that light color. And it reflects the sun, and it keeps you cool even in the summer. And we've had press conferences. We finished it about a month ago. This is, as you see over here, the Presidential Walk of Fame. And we had this long wall with half windows because there used to be a swimming pool on the other side of the wall. That was the swimming pool where Jackie would say, "I hear women inside." Are women inside? Quite a famous, I'm not saying anything, this was a part of a movie. And the Secret Service said, "No, ma'am, there's no women inside, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're going to have to move along." "But I hear women inside." "No, ma'am, you'll have to move along, ma'am." So that was the famous swimming pool. Now it's even worse. It's for the media. They covered the pool up. They covered the pool up, and now it's for the media. And I think we have a small representative group. I don't think they allowed the rest of them. I can't believe it. What happened? They're all on the other side of the wall. Can you believe it? Because this is supposed to be sort of a private event. And there is no such thing in politics as a private event. Lindsey, you learned that a long time ago, right? The great Lindsey Graham. Doing fantastic. You're up 34 points, Lindsay. That's not bad, I'll tell you. It's not bad. So we did the Presidential Walk of Fame from the great George Washington all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me. It's like less than great, less than George. As somebody went up there, they say, "You're the third best president in the United States." This was on television, third best. And they said, "Who are the first two?" "George Washington and Abraham Lincoln." And I got extremely angry at this man. You know, you can't, it'd be tough to beat, Mr. Senator. It's going to be, John, it's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln, but we're going to give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming, all right? We put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not. So I just want to say it's great to be with you. And when we're finished, later on, we're going to have a little quick lunch, and they do great food at the White House. And this is used sometimes for evening, where we've had some incredible people for the evening, and some of the big foreign leaders have been coming. And most excitingly, on the other side, you see the fence and the wall. We're building a world-class ballroom. You know, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here. We don't have a ballroom. We have a little cocktail area, but we don't have a ballroom. The East Room, it's called, is a very small cocktail area, 88 people if it's tight. And I said, if I do this again, I'm going to get a ballroom built, and we're putting up our own money. With the government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, it reminds me of money. In this case, it reminds me of lack of money because I'm paying for it, so it's the opposite. But it's going to be one of the most beautiful ballrooms anywhere in the world, and it's going to be able to take care of tremendous things. When you have, as an example, I'm going to see President Xi in 2 weeks, going over to South Korea, we're going to meet in South Korea. We're going to talk about a lot of things. They want to discuss the fact that they're paying 157% tariff. It's a little higher than they thought. And we're doing very well. I think we're going to do well in that negotiation. We've done well at Japan, with South Korea, with Europe. The European nations got together. We made a deal. And it was all based without the tariffs. You could have never made the deal. I'll tell you what, tariffs equal national security. Remember that. Tariffs equal national security. You got to remember that. And they also equal wealth for our nation, because we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in a very friendly manner, given to us by nations that used to take it from us. And they used tariffs on us, never used it on them because we were foolish. Or we were led by people that weren't business people. But it really does. It equals national security. And I wouldn't have put out, I mentioned 8 wars, 9 coming. Of the 8, 5 were based solely on trade and tariffs. India, Pakistan were going at it. 2 nuclear powers, and serious nuclear. 7 planes shot down. They were ready to go, and I called them up. I said, you go to war, and we're not doing a trade deal. And they said, well, what is one thing or the other? I said, it has a lot. You're nuclear powers, and if you do it, we're not doing a trade deal. And 24 hours later, they called me, we have decided not to do it. We stopped the war. We stopped the potential disaster, a nuclear disaster, because of trade. And it's been really amazing. But the tariffs have made us a wealthy country. They've given us tremendous defense. They've given us things that we can do for other countries, very positive. But again, really, it's national defense, and they are so important. And it's incredible that presidents, for the most part, didn't know how to use them, when to use them. If you go back, you'll see some of the presidents that were the most successful were believers in tariffs. And I even see foreign countries now that we are doing very well with, taking ads. Don't go with tariffs. They're taking ads. I saw an ad last night from Canada. If I was Canada, I'd take that same ad also. But they're actually on television taking ads. But I do believe that everybody's too smart for that. We have a very, very big and important case coming up. We should win the case based on the legal merit. We should also win the case based on all of the things I just said. But we're a wealthy country again. Last week, as you know, they found $31 billion. They came to see me, sir. We found $31 billion. They said, we don't know why. I said, was this a good find or a bad find? It was a good find. It was a plus 31. We're used to finding negative 31s, right, for the last 30 years. I said, check the tariff shelf. Well, those tariffs haven't kicked in. Yes, they did. They kicked in 2 months ago. Check it. He comes back 2 hours later. Sir, you were right. We have an additional $31 billion, billion, not million, Lindsay, billion, that we just found from tariffs. They kicked in earlier than we thought. You were right. We're a wealthy nation again, and we're a nation that can be secure. We're a nation that can start paying down our debt. And with tariffs, we're the wealthiest nation ever in the history of the world. Without them, we've got to slog. We've got to slog. But remember this, other nations, including China, Japan, European nations, they used tariffs against us for many years. That's why we owe $37 trillion. That's why. But they used tariffs very successfully against us, and we had presidents that never fought it. But now you have a president that does fight it. So I just want to welcome you to the incredible Rose Garden. It's just an incredible place. It was done, we did it, brought it back to health. It was in very bad shape, actually, and we brought it back to health. First Lady Melania did a fantastic job on it. The surrounds and everything, it's all new wiring, you know, underneath there's a lot of wire, a lot of things. Everything brand new, everything beautiful. The only thing we did is we had to get a hard surface here because nobody could use it because of the grass. So I just want to welcome you, and I hope you're going to be here a lot. We're going to use it for meetings. We're going to use it for press conferences. Now we can use it. It was unusable before, and now we can use it. But everything that you see was redone. All of this was redone, and the whole White House is being redone. Some of you came through they call the Rose Hall. They call it different names, but you probably noticed. I don't know if you came through this door. Did you notice the white marble floor that was put there? That was that was made out of Home Depot tiles, about 1 foot by 1 foot. They were all broken, about 30 years old. And I replaced it with book-matched marble, paid for by your friend, President Trump. It's like, it's amazing how people like it when you say you paid for it. When I say I paid for it, they say, oh, I love it. But it really, they did a beautiful talents. They were very talented marble people I have. And they replaced it with beautiful paradisial marble and statuary marble. And it's really, really beautiful. I want to thank the outstanding leadership team, and you really do have that. Majority Leader John Thune, who's been my friend, he really has done an amazing job. Thank you, John. Thank you. Done an amazing job. I didn't get to know John as well in the first term, and I've gotten to know him very well over the last 9 months, John, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Really great. Majority Whip John Barrasso was outstanding man. Thank you, John. Thank you. Great guy, too. Conference Chair Tom Cotton. He loves that military. He loves it. He loves the military. Policy Committee Chair Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley, thank you very much, Shelley. Vice Chair James Langford. Very good, James, thank you. And you know, we have everybody but one person here. You know, everybody showed up. I figured you'd have like, I'd say 40 would have been a good number, right? If everybody, we're just missing one person. You'll never guess who that is. Let me give you, he automatically votes no on everything. He thinks it's good politics. It's really not good politics. He's an automatic no. But I don't know. Look, if he wanted to come, I'd probably let him come, right? I'd let him come. Begrudgingly, but would let him come. And National Republican Senatorial Committee Chair, an unbelievable guy, Tim Scott. You know, Tim, I shouldn't say it because it's so, I don't know if it's going to be. But Tim ran, and he was very effective and very good. But he was on the debate stage and everything else, he was good just because he's good. But he wasn't as good as they thought he was. And when he got out of the race, he endorsed me almost immediately. And I used him as a surrogate. And I wasn't sure if I should because, you know, sometimes I want a total lunatic to get up and fight for me. And Tim is a really good person. So I wasn't sure. And I put him on the stage, and he ripped the heart out of everybody. He was so brutal. He was so unbelievable. It turned out to be absolutely one of my best surrogates. And it includes a lot of you people that were here. You were all surrogates. But Tim ripped these people apart. And after watching 2 or 3 times, then I wanted him all the time, right, Susie? I said, I want Tim Scott, get up there. But he was so good. And I said to him, Tim, when you fought for yourself, you were much different. When you fought for me, you were a tiger. You were like unstoppable. You were, really was. You all saw that. What's the difference? He said, I never liked selling myself. And I love selling somebody that I really do believe in. I really believe in you. And I just felt that way. And it was so nice the way he expressed it. And I want to tell you, you are a champion. You are a winner, and congratulations. Thank you very much. I never love telling that story because I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad story, but I'm telling you, you are an amazing guy, and you fought for me so hard, and I really appreciate it. You got to be my #1 choice, Tim. So something, doing great doing what you're doing right now. I also want to thank the entire Senate Republican Conference for your tremendous work on confirmations. Boy, did we have a couple of weeks, huh? We had some, I signed like 150 of them, and I didn't use an auto pen, by the way. I signed. You know, when you're signing these important, like a general getting approved from 3-star to 4-star and all of these different things and big confirmations and, you know, big stuff, you really have an obligation to actually sign it, I think. You probably noticed right there, number 46, we put up, right? We put up a little bit of an auto pen. We have 46. We have 45. We have 47. It's very interesting. Yeah, 46 is an auto pen. It's up there. It stays up there. People like it. It's probably going to stay up there for a long time. It's true. And I know you're looking into that. And by the way, the auto pen person said he never spoke to Biden. The auto pen, you're not allowed to do that. So if you're looking at anything, just remember it. And remember, they treated us very badly. They treated us very, very badly, so I think you're allowed to just report the truth, including the confirming of my cabinet much faster than first time. I mean, we went so fast, and I give John Thune and all of you credit for that. It was amazing. All of a sudden, I was calling John, I've got to get him approved. Come on, John, because I was getting like one every 2 weeks. And you know, people, they left their job and they left everything and it looked like they were, all of a sudden, it was like an avalanche. They walked in, James and James, my double James, I call them. They walk in and they had like so many of them. I said, you got to be kidding. Is this like, are you for real, right, James? John Thune did his job, and you got them all done, and you have all those people out there working now. And instead of being very upset with the fact that we couldn't get them approved quickly, so I really appreciate it. You used a method that I wish you could use on U.S. attorneys. You know, I have 10 U.S. attorneys who are phenomenal. A Harvard, a Yale, a this, a that, all top. And the problem is they're not going to ever be confirmed, I guess. I put them in. They'll be there for 3 or 4 months, and then they have to leave. Because anytime you have, as you know, anytime you have a Democrat senator, not even two, just one, they'll say because of the time we're in, we're not approving that person. We're not approving. They never do. They won't approve. And therefore, because of blue slip, I have to tell the person after 3 months, I'm sorry, you'll have to leave. And I put somebody else in. And I've had Democrat senators say the only one who will ever approve is a Democrat. This is not constitutional. And you really, I hope you can look at that blue slip thing, because I have 10 people that are phenomenal, and they're going to have to leave office. Highly educated, top of their class, everything. And they're going to have a mark on their career that they were a U.S. attorney for 3 months or 4 months, and then they had to leave. And that's so unfair. It's unfair to the public, because the public voted for me in a landslide, and I'm supposed to be picking the U.S. attorneys. And this goes for judges also. But actually more so even for the U.S. attorney with the blue slip. So I have these phenomenal people, many of them young, but truly fantastic people. And they're wondering what's going to happen in another 3, 4, 5 weeks. They're going to have to leave office. I think it's a shame, and I hope you can do something about it, because I'd like to tell those people, you know, we put you there, and you're not going to have on your resume for the rest of your life, you were there for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and you left like you got canned. So I hope you look at that. Very important. And after your pivotal changes to the Senate rules last month, as a result, this is what you did, the unprecedented obstruction by the Democrats. We've confirmed more than 175 public servants, people that are phenomenal, to keep posts. And that's just been over the last couple of weeks. It's an unbelievable thing what you've done, John, all of you together. So work closely with me and House majority. The Republican Senate also gave us the largest working class tax cut in American history. And you passed the Lake and Riley Act to throw illegal alien criminals out of our country. You passed the Genius Act and the Take It Down Act with the support of our wonderful First Lady. She got, by the way, she got actual support from the other side. It was bipartisan. I think Rand didn't vote for it again. I think it was only Rand. We had bipartisan support, but maybe Rand. But another one I'm going to ask you to vote for, and it's in the House now, and I hear it's doing well in the House, James. It's Kate's Law. A young lady named Kate Steinle, I remember it so well, probably 8 or 10 years ago now in San Francisco. She was holding hands with her father on the San Francisco pier, looking out into the water. It was beautiful, everything was beautiful, but the person was beautiful that did this. And this was an illegal alien that came into our country 5 times, was thrown out 4 or 5 times, I don't even know, but a lot, and came back and shot her through the head. And she went down and she looked at her father, Daddy, Daddy, something happened, and she immediately passed away in his arm. And I mean, you can imagine, it was so sad, such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. Father was destroyed, you know, virtually destroyed. and they passed they wanted to pass what they call case law, and it's now again in Congress, and I hear we're going to get it passed in Congress, and when it gets up to the Senate, I hope you guys can pass it. And basically, very simply, it says that if you're an illegal alien and you come in and you get thrown out, if you come back and get caught, you have to spend 10 years in jail. Very simple. Very simple. If they would have had that, Kate Steinle would be alive today. That was a big event at the time. If you remember Bill O'Reilly, for those of you that like Bill, I think I like Bill, but he was the one, he devoted his life to that law, trying to get it passed. I think it's time that we pass it, so that if you get taken out of the country and you come back illegally, knowing that this law is in existence, you go to jail for a 10-year period, and it's going to keep the repeat offenders from coming in. It's going to really keep them from coming in. Senate Republicans have already voted 11 times to get our government back and open for business. We have record business. We're going to be, I think, by the time I hit month number 12, I think we're going to have $20 trillion of investment. We're over 17 right now. As an example, President Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. To have $20 trillion in less than 12 months, and we're over 17 trillion right now. So it's the largest amount in our country by far, by many times. That's in our country. But here's the one, it's the largest amount in the history of the world. There's never been a country that's had anywhere near 17, or it will be 20, and it's going up fast. A lot of it's because of tariffs, because they're coming in because they don't want to pay tariffs. In other words, they make their product in a certain country, and they used to just send it in here, and there was no charge, absolutely. Now, if they have to pay a 20%, 30%, 50%, 100%, or 2% tariff, they say, well, it's better if I build my plant in the United States. It always amazed me I did this first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in first term. We had COVID, and we did a good job with that. That was a curse for every country in the world. It was terrible, but we had the greatest economy we ever had. But if you remember, I started the tariffs, but I held it off because it wouldn't have exactly been good at the time to tell France, you know what they were going through, you know what Spain was going through and Italy was going through. That, by the way, we're going to charge you tariffs. But I had started the process. We were going, the country was doing good, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I put the full tariffs on China. Biden left the tariffs because he couldn't, it was too much money, but they gave so many exceptions that they were essentially meaningless. In other words, yes, the tariffs, but you don't have to pay if you look at somebody the wrong way. You don't have to pay. So they didn't pay very much. But to me, they were paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And again, I have a great relationship with President Xi. I expect to be able to make a good deal with him. And I want him to make a good deal for China. But it's got to be fair. For years, they were making $500, $600, $700 billion. $700 billion, and we'd be making nothing. It was a one-sided, honestly, we built their military. We built China's military with the money that we lost for so many years getting ripped off. So now we're going to have a fair deal, and I think we're going to have a very successful meeting. Certainly there are a lot of people that are waiting for it. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't happen. Things can happen where, for instance, maybe somebody will say, I don't want to meet, it's too nasty. But it's really not nasty, it's just business, and we're gonna do a good job representing you people and representing the people of our country. Unfortunately, in a craven and pointless act of partisan spite, Chuck Schumer, who I've known for a long time, and the radical left Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage to appease the extremists in their party. And they are extreme. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. They're extreme, and you know what? We had a landslide election. We won the popular vote by a lot. We won the swing states, all 7. Remember, they said, oh, if Trump could get 3 swing states, it'd be. And, well, I didn't get 3, I got 7. We got all 7 by a lot, by record numbers. We won the Electoral College, 312 votes. They said, it's very hard for a Republican. It's harder for a Republican, although now I think we've swapped it. I think it's now harder for a Democrat, because if you see what we've done with the Hispanics, with the black workers and black men, and recently a poll came out with black men and women were doing so well. You know, they want security. They don't want to have their city destroyed. Women in Chicago, beautiful black women walking around with red MAGA hats because they don't want to be mugged and shot and everything else. And then you see a Democrat get up and tell you how safe it is in Chicago. You know, they've had, in a fairly short period of time, 4,000 murders. This is over a short period of time, 4,000 murders. And they had a holiday where they had 28 people killed and almost 100 shot. And then you listen to this guy, Pritzker. I've known the family for a long time. They threw him out because he was no good, and he became governor. He's got money through the family. He got money through the family. But they threw him out, he became governor. I said, I wonder how he's going to do. It's a crime palace. It's a shame. And you know what we did in D.C. is unbelievable. You people, you can walk down the middle of the street, Senator, you can walk down, you can have your wife meet you at the restaurant because she's not going to be accosted, shot, beat up, raped. It's unbelievable how bad it was. It was one of the worst in the country, and now it's stone cold. I don't say the word perfect, but it's pretty damn close. And you know, they would average more than a murder a week in Washington, D.C. This is just before we got here, a murder a week. Think of that. The capital of, in my opinion, the capital of the world. They come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come from Florida. You call up the parents, I'm sorry, sir, your son has been shot and killed. We have no crime here now. We have no crime. And the National Guard has been unbelievable, the job. Unbelievable. And you know, it also looks better. I do a tour. I hop in that beast. I feel very safe in the beast, the windows of this thing. I hop in the beast and I tell the Secret Service, let's drive around town. I used to do that I could drive myself around. I actually like that better. But now I don't think it's a good idea. But we drive around in the streets. The place is looking the grass is good, the fences are down, there's no tents, there's no anything. We are looking like it's just a whole new look. And the most important thing, there's no crime. And we're going to fix the roads. We have great pavers. We're going to fix the medians in between the roads, which half of them are falling down. We're going to take some of the tiles off the bridges, the tunnels that you have. They've been up for 40 years. They're rotted. And we'll put up brand new, gorgeous white tiles like it's supposed to be. But this place is looking really good. And we haven't even started the real fixing up of the town. We're getting rid of the graffiti. You notice there's almost no graffiti anymore. A lot of that beautiful statuary marble had red graffiti all over it, had bad signs up, and it stopped. We've taken out 1,700 career people that came in through an open border. They came in through Biden's open border, and we've taken them out. The thing having to do with all of the elements in the great big beautiful bill, I'll tell you, it's amazing what we've done. $200 billion in costs for medical. What we've done, $50 billion for rural hospitals. And remember, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on, think of all of these things that we've done. This is the biggest, this is the greatest bill. Social Security, no tax on overtime, but no tax on tips. I got that from a waitress in Nevada. I was making a speech and I'm at one of my restaurants in the hotel I own there. I say, how are you doing? Well, sir, it's terrible. They're taxing my tips. They're going, I wouldn't have even thought that. And I looked at it and she said to me, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it one time more. No tax on tips. I walked outside to the press. I said, there will be no tax on tips. She was right. And we won that state by a lot. That's not a state that we win by that much, David, but we won it by a lot. So it was pretty good. But that bill is chock full of so many different things. So it was the biggest bill. I'm actually saying this to the fake news so that they maybe print it, but maybe not because you people know. It was the biggest bill ever passed in Congress. And what we did was a little risky. We put everything into the bill, John, right? And some people were against it. They said, no, you got to do small bites. And we gave it a shot, and we got it passed. I got a call from John. He said, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Sir, we have 4 hard no's. Could you please call him? I said, what time is it, John? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, sir. So I call up. One of you is sitting right here. I said, Jim, could I say hello to you? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? He said, sir, you have my vote. I said, wow. Then I called up another person. I'll use fictitious names. Doug, could I get your vote? You've got it, sir. Then I called up another one. How about Josh? Could I have your vote, Josh? Because I like Josh. And Josh, who can be very difficult, said, sir, you have my vote. His wife was screaming at him on the other side. Sir, you have my vote. But I called people, and they weren't really hard-nosed. They wanted a little attention, unfortunately, at 4 in the morning. Sometimes I like the ones that don't like the attention, but we'll take it any way we can. And we got it passed, right, John? And nobody thought that could happen because you have a small majority. And in the House, how about in the House, we had a majority of 3. We actually went down after that for a period of about 2 months. We went down to a majority in the House of 1. And I kept saying, you know, because I tell you, Mike Johnson's great. The team, these 2 teams, did you ever see 2 people more different? One's tall, one's slightly less tall. We want to people that they are very different people, but they're the same in terms of talent. They did the 2 guys, and they get along incredibly well. We all do. We get along great. But we passed the bill. We don't need to pass any more bills. We got everything in that bill. There's nothing else we have to put. We got the largest tax cuts in history. We got the extension of the Trump tax cuts. We got all of these things. And, you know, remember, they lie. They will look at I saw it the other day, they were talking about, I call it the great big beautiful bill, but that's what it is, the great big beautiful, the biggest bill ever passed. And what they say, they make up stories. And I saw they were interviewing a senator, and they said, well, what's wrong with their bill? He didn't know what to say. This is nothing he could say. It covers everything. He said, death. It brings death. Now, if I'm a regular person and I hear that, I say, oh, that's terrible. But it's just the opposite. It brings life. It brings Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. It secures all those things. And they just are so bad. You know, they said death. It was like death. There's nothing about death. Theirs is death. Because they're going to lose Medicaid, they're going to lose Social Security, they're going to lose Medicare. All of those things are going to be gone because the whole country would be bankrupt, and you're not going to have any kind of medical insurance. So with us, it's the opposite. And it's a great bill. We don't need any more. And I want to just say from the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats need to vote for the clean bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything. Car plants are pouring back into our country. AI plants, we're leading, we're dominating China right now in AI. And I did something that I think you'd like, because we have an old grid, it's a tired grid. It doesn't have the juice that you need to fire up these plants. You know, these plants will need more than double the energy we have right now for the whole country. That's how big it is. And we can't do that. There's no way we can do that. China's building right now 52 power stations. But I did something better. I'm letting everybody build their own power plant so they'll become like an electric utility in addition to AI. But if they want to build their own plant and we get their approvals within less than a month, it used to take 5 years prior to rejection. Sometimes the guy in Louisiana, they had one that took 12 years and then they got rejected. I got it approved in 2 weeks when I got into office. That was the first term. and the plant is up now, and it's been a great thing for the state. I did it twice, actually. I got 2 of them that were dead after 12 years, and I got them approved, both of them in less than a week. And that's what we're doing. Lee Zeldin, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job, Environmental Commission, I have to tell you. He knows that we have to get them fast, and we're getting them fast. So we're leading China in the AI race by a lot. Under Biden, Democrats voted 13 times for continuing resolutions to keep the government open. And all we want is simply to ask them to do it once again. They always voted for it. They never voted against it. Nobody votes against it. But they do that, and they do. It's partially my fault. I mean, I'm watching you, and I'm looking at all these great faces that I've seen, really great people. I think with few exceptions, a couple of you I don't like that much, but with few exceptions, great people. And you look at what they do, and you look at the game they play, and it's a horrible game. And, you know, we have the hottest country ever. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I say this, I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I was over in the Middle East, and the King of Saudi Arabia and others also said essentially the same thing. They said, you know, President, a year and a half ago, your country was dead. We never thought we'd see this. And right now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world, which tells you about leadership, and that includes your leadership. So as you know, my door is always open to anyone. It's not like that AOC. How about her, where she said, she's talking about having rebellions and everything. She said, well, my door is always open. But she's not the leader. I'm sure the leaders felt very nicely about when she said her door is open. Who the hell wants to go into her door anyway? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's the one that started. You know, I remember, I'll never forget, she never took a course on the environment. And I watched her one day, and she was on top. Our planet will be dead within 12 years. That was a long time ago. Our planet was supposed to be dead. Remember the 12-year theory? We were environmentally dead. Now, these people, they've got an agenda that nobody quite understands. The good news is they don't understand it either. They really have no idea. But the people do. The people understand. We're giving you the biggest tax cuts in history. All of these things, it all adds up that we should do fantastically well in the midterm. The only thing wrong with the statistically, when you look, a president gets elected, and for some reason, and nobody, even the great John Thune, cannot explain to me, for some reason, even if he's a reasonably good president, and we've had success like nobody, but for some reason, you lose the midterms. I don't know why. I mean, the odds are tremendously against, like 92% or something. It doesn't make sense. If you have a great presidency, it only makes sense that you win the midterm. So there should be no reason for it. Somebody's going to explain there might be some dark, deep psychological reason where they want to vote the opposite way. I don't know what it is, but we have to win the midterms. Otherwise, all of the things that we've done, so many of them are going to be taken away by the radical left lunatics. I mean, we're going to end up with a communist mayor in New York. Can you believe it? A communist. Remember, I would always say, we will not have a socialist elected in our country. Remember, I'd say that all the time. And I was right. We skipped socialist. We got a communist elected. So I didn't tell a lie. I didn't tell a lie. I was right. We'll have a communist, not a socialist. But we've already seen the impacts of the dangerous game that they're playing. Democrats are causing delays in our air traffic control system. So important. We wouldn't have had, you know, this Pete Buttigieg. He spent billions of dollars on fixing the air traffic control that used copper wire going into glass wire. Any union electrician here or any non-union electrician would say you can't hook copper into glass. It doesn't work. They spent billions of dollars. They turned on the system, and it was stone cold blank. We're getting a brand new system. We have bids out now. We have 3 great companies bidding. And I want one bid. Sean Duffy's doing terrifically. I want one bid. I want just bid, and they're responsible for everything. Not where they had like 1,000 contractors. Every contractor, they're all running around. In the end, if one of them does a bad job, we want to be able to blame somebody, and it's going to be one of the very big companies because there's a lot of interest in it. So the air traffic control system is going to be rebuilt. Over 1 million federal workers right now, as you know, are going unpaid. That's the Democrats' fault. and children, tourists, unable to visit the museums in Washington, D.C., that we now have beautiful, safe streets, but we don't have the museums open. We should probably just open them. But we are doing things that nobody's ever done, nobody's ever seen. So all of this and the pain that the Democrats have caused during this reckless and completely unnecessary affair, and you could call it the Schumer shutdown or the Democrat, you can call it whatever you want. And I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it. And by the way, thank you. You're doing a great job. I have to tell you so. Really a great job. Because many of the things they're cutting, like the New York project, $20 billion we're cutting it, they're not going to get it back. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of things back. They may not get it back. Maybe we'll talk to them about it. But they're losing all the things that they wanted. But many of the things that they wanted are things that we don't want. Things that are just so bad for our country. And we're cutting those things out. So while they thought they were doing maybe bad, maybe indirectly they're doing good. The cynical comment that they made all over the place, and all of their cynical remarks proves beyond all doubt that Schumer is a calculating political partisan, but we knew that. But he's somebody that's in deep trouble. He's losing in all of the polls. He's even losing to AOC +3. Remember +3? What happened to the +3? Are they still around? I had one, I met when I was at the United Nations, I met the president of Somalia. And I said, I have somebody I'd like to give back to you. Thanks, we don't want her. He didn't want anything to do with her. But today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back. In the greatest moment in the history of our country in terms of wealth, in terms of job creation, and in terms of investment coming in, these guys go on strike. It's really a shame. So I'm asking them to be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing. And with that, I just want to say welcome to the White House. When we're finished, they do a great job. When they're finished, we're going to all come in. It'll be a little crowded, but that's okay. Into the Oval Office, we'll talk a little bit, a couple of minutes. Got some interesting things. And I think I'd like to have, if I could, John come up and say a few words, and we can close it out. And by the way, this is an open mic. It's open to the world. I think they can hear me out on the street. If anybody wants to come up and say after John, friends, and you can speak your heart out. But we've got to get our government open, and the Democrats are trying to keep it closed. Thank you. John, please.
Mr. President, thank you for having us. This is the 4th week of the Democrat shutdown, but we are all here today because your Republican team in the Senate is unified. This is now the longest full shutdown in history, but everybody here has voted now 11 different times to open up the government, and we are going to keep voting to open up the government, and eventually the Democrats, hopefully sooner or later, are going to come around. But Mr. President, your agenda is the right one for this country. This is your team. We are your partners in achieving and implementing the agenda that you campaigned on and the American people voted for. And you just mentioned it has been a series of promises kept, whether it's national security, whether it's the border, whether it's the economy, taxes, regulations, energy, Trump newborn accounts, school choice. You look at what we've accomplished so far. It is a remarkable, remarkable team and a record of accomplishment that can't be matched. And I would argue, at least in my time here, but perhaps in all of history. So thank you for your leadership, and we will continue to be good partners and work with you to get the work done for the American people. And let's hope that the Democrats get wise, and starting perhaps even today, vote to reopen the government so we can get back to work for the American people. Mr. President, thank you for having us at your home. You have beautiful homes, and thank you for everything you're doing to make this such a beautiful place. This is America's house. We're delighted to be here. Thank you.
And President Trump with United States senators in the Rose Garden there, highlighting many victories, including some concluding thoughts from Senate Majority Leader John Thune as the president speaks and hosts a Rose Garden luncheon once again for Republican United States senators. As he mentioned, with all the successes over the course of this short period of time in office, less than a calendar year, that the door is always open. And of course, touching and highlighting on the renovations in the East Wing for the Grand Ballroom, but also that the food is good at the White House, and the new and improved West Wing, including the Oval Office and the 45-second walk on the colonnade with the Hall of Fame, the Wall of Fame, if you will, of the presidents of the United States. So many good viewing things to see at the White House, the People's House. Take it all, familypharmacy.com/RSBN for cold and flu season, 10% off ivermectin and Tamiflu, antibiotics, antivirals, and much, much more. NAD plus, methylene blue, hydrochloroquine, 200 essential medications, emergency medical kits. Scan that QR code there now. No insurance, no issue, no red tape, no bureaucracy, just life-saving medications for you and yours in this cold and flu season. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Thank you for sponsoring us on the right side of history. Monetary gold, its wealth, its preservation securities. Grab that complimentary presidential gold guide today. Call today, do not delay. Ask how you can eliminate that IRA fees permanently for life. So no worry there, because I know that can be somewhat expensive as you dive into gold and silver in this bull market. 888-617-7994, RSBN for thegold.com. That's RSBN for thegold.com. Call immediately to discover how you can eliminate those fees, as we've had 2 bank failures. Robert Kiyosaki warning us of that, in addition to maybe more. If it's retirement, income, those pensions, everything you worked hard for, whether it's generational wealth or simply buying that first or second home, monetary gold must be a partner you're able to achieve that with 5,000 years of human history, gold and silver, experiencing the bull market right now. RSBN for
He's pretty much just repeating himself on this part.
Thank you for joining us today at Right Side Broadcasting Network on just a splendid, gorgeous day in the nation's capital. Get all America First updates and exclusive offers at RSBN
But
Network.
it's pretty much done now. We didn't get to see a beat though. I wanted to see a beat. Oh well. But when Trump goes to Korea and all that goes down, I'm gonna try to keep my eye out so I can get ahead of it. I want to go live. So I want to see I want to see him there and what's all going to be discussed. But I am very proud of Trump. He's done a lot. And this year it's not over yet, you know? Day 1 of when he got into office. Aw, thank you. Mo? You're always welcome here. Thank you. How are you? But he's accomplished a lot since January. Exactly what he said he would do. He said that he would sign over 200, if that, bills. And he did just that. I don't see how this man does it at his age, though. He has good energy. But I don't even think he sleeps. Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see if there's any other news, but they are discussing the government again. I don't know if it's updated information or if it's the same stuff. I don't think you guys want to hear the same stuff. It's like, woman, we already heard about that. Let me see.
action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches and their
Amen to that, Easy.
interruptions and censorship.
But yeah, everybody who pops in, I pray that you enjoy my stream and don't be scared to chat with me. You can chat about the topic or whatever's on mind. And if you are new, please subscribe. I want to take the time to thank everyone who helped my channel to grow. As of today, I hit 205. It probably went up a little. I haven't checked it for a little while, but I want to thank every one of you for just helping my channel thrive as it is and interacting with my videos. But please subscribe, comment, and like, and share my videos to get it out there more. I would always appreciate that. And if you, I'm always grateful for the love and support, and you can support me on my Patreon. The link for that is in my bio. But any support's always appreciated. And I do have a drop video coming, I want to say tonight. It is of our beautiful flag. But other than that, that's not new. I don't want it to pop something else up. I don't think there's anything else other than that, guys. Unless you guys know something I don't. Let's go to Fox News because Right Side Broadcasting, they don't do events. And I don't think there's going to be any more newer events until next year. But they pretty much do politics and nothing but Trump. Fox News, though, they do all kinds of stuff. But I've been looking on Fox. There's nothing new for events happening. I think pretty much which one is that one? Live now from Fox. Yeah, a minute, guys. Oh, absolutely easy. I can post it for you. I got you. And for anybody who wants to support me. Why is it so low? My volume's up on both ends. It must be on their end. Alright, let me get the link for you. Sky News? Let me check that out. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Where's the spell? Sky News. Okay. Oh, Sky News. Are they live right now? Oh, they got a few things coming up. They do have one for today. That's at 5 o'clock. Let me actually subscribe to them. Alright, let me go post my link. Let's see how I do this. Oh, they've changed this way too much. How do I do this?
Well, thank you, Julie, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry, I was trying to find a parking space and I found one on
Yeah,
98th Street.
that's for sure. I don't want nothing copyright.
Have experienced a
Which I will make sure of that.
systematically root out waste,
If any music plays, I'm not gonna,
vendors over students and teachers. Mandani is the candidate who will fix this. He has a vision, he has a plan, and that plan will take effect as soon as he's elected and takes over as mayor of New York City. The Department of Education, you heard it from Julie,
right, yeah, dashboard.
and how do I know? You know I was involved in the CFE, the Campaign for Fiscal Equity lawsuit. I worked to Albany in order to get billions of dollars for our children. That's what it's about, for our children. But yet, the $40 billion budget, and yet classrooms are under-resourced while contractors cash in. And there are over 3,000, you heard it, over 3,000 active DOE contracts, many renewed year after year without reviewing which ones are wasting millions of dollars and from taxpayers or outdated services.
They've changed this so much.
So Zora Mandani will bring about accountability to the DOE's $10 billion in contracts and making sure every dollar actually delivers to students and teachers. Now, with respect to he will provide and bring transparency and support to every
Alright guys, I'm gonna copy the link.
that his plan is not just about cutting waste, it's about restoring trust. When the government spends smarter, schools work better, and New Yorkers see the results. And Zora Mandani
Just click that link, guys.
contract into a system of effective education, ensuring every dollar educates a child, not enriches a consultant. And with that, I say let me turn you over to the next mayor of New York, Zora Mandani. Thank you so much.
Every morning, more
Oh yeah, the lefties.
New York City public school students wipe the sleep from their eyes.
Can you guys even hear this?
And set out to school. Children are our future, but they are set to inherit a future in the very system that is preparing them for the world. The DOE has the largest budget of any city agency, $40 billion. And of that, $10 billion is dedicated to contracts. While many of these contracts are essential, procurement process across the agency is not well managed. Complacence and comfort with the status quo has permeated across our education system. Now, the scope of the challenge is vast, but it's a challenge that is fixable. We have long, outdated systems and manual workflows that are incompatible with management systems and contracts across the rest of city government. We have staffing shortages and hiring delays,
going live again later, guys, because Trump is hosting a celebration in the Oval Office. This will be around 4. Well, they'll broadcast it around 4. I don't have everything set up once I get off of here. I want to actually watch that with you guys. That will be on Sky News.
Wasteful spending, and we will follow every single dollar. Reduction in redundant spending and a 30% decrease in retroactive and emergency procurement. The second thing we will do is overhaul procurement infrastructure across the DOE.
Do you guys want to watch this? It's pretty much just discussing the government, but the sound's not even loud, and it's on their end.
We will establish a procurement hub for every single one of the 5 boroughs, and we will align DOE systems with the city's passport vendor portal. This will be done in addition to mandating physical training and certification for every single staffer who works on procurement. These measures are expected to accelerate the procurement cycle by 40%. The third measure is we are going to deliver vendor accountability, and we will do this by having a vendor rating dashboard. I am running for mayor not just to deliver on an ambitious agenda to transform the most expensive city in the United States into one that is affordable. I'm also running to deliver a city government that will be characterized by excellence. And to deliver that excellence, it means to have a willingness to challenge the status quo, to interrogate the answer of that is always how things have been done, and to be undaunted by the scale of the challenge in front of us. For too long, we've allowed individuals like Elon Musk to pretend as if the concerns of efficiency and waste are that of the right wing, when in fact they should be the bedrock of any progressive politics. And what we are going to do through this agenda of curing procurement is to ensure that every single dollar we spend within the Department of Education is a dollar that is furthering our mission of delivering excellent education to students across the 5 boroughs. And I am thankful for the support of 2 legislators who have been on the front lines of that very battle as we chart a new course for the city. Thank you so much.
Please, yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if you can cite any specific examples of contracts that you think are duplicative or wasteful. And secondly, I was also curious, the Wall Street Journal reported that you told business leaders that you were considering using AI to write curriculum, potentially to save jobs in the education department, reduce jobs in the education department. Is that true? And can you expand on that at all?
No, I've spoken about AI's potential use to supplement public sector capacity amidst my concern of the rising number of job losses, especially within the tech sector. You know, there's sadly not a shortage of examples that I could provide you with, but one that I will cite is at the height of the pandemic, the DOE entered into hundreds of millions of dollars in technology contracts, and these were contracts that the DOE entered into without any kind of a system of coordinating inventory. And that is the very set of policies and approach that has led to such duplicative practices and redundancies across our contracting systems.
Is there a goal when it comes to these spending cuts? You talk about the 10 million piece, part of a larger $40 billion budget. Is there a goal you're setting in place for yourself? Say, I want $1 billion. I want to save the taxpayers $1 billion. And do you think you'll be able to accomplish this because you've been open to a less centralized DOE? More local control you've talked about. You've been somewhat non-committal on mayoral control. If you spread out the power, if you spread out the control, will you be able to actually control these costs?
You know, I have spoken about the importance of creating a system that has more parental, educator, student involvement, and I actually see that as very much part of the same mission.
Alrighty,
because what I hear
guys.
from many parents, many teachers, many students is the scale of
I'm going to actually end this one so I can set the next one up. But thank you guys so much. Click that link, guys, to support me on my Patreon. But God bless every one of you for your love and support and just growing this channel. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you later. But we'll see. But thank you for joining the stream. It was nice seeing Trump and his speech. He always does good speeches. But I am proud of him. But keep him in your prayers. And subscribe, comment, like, and share my content too, please. But thank you guys so much. And I'll see you